This is the Horsepower Hour.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Horsepower Hour, the only podcast with a salvage title. Joining me as always is the illustrious, the wondrous Dr. Master and Commander, Forticus and Master and Junior Senior Esquire, Duke of Earl Grey. How you doing, man?
I'm back, guys. I'm back. I know I had my twin cousin on last week, but I am back this week with a vengeance. So
he did okay.
He was fair.
Yeah, he wasn't you, but he did okay.
Yeah.
Did a lot better than our last intern.
Oh God, we don't want to talk about intern Jake.
Hey, speaking of interns, though, I do want to give a quick shout out because today is producer Nick's 21st birthday. And while he's not here with us physically, he is with us in spirit, probably passed out drunk somewhere in Eugene.
Oh, wow. That's scary.
Oh, yeah. The amount of rape happening, I don't even want to think about.
Like 2 years ago, I'd have been like, man, he's by himself on his 21st birthday. This is boring. But now he works with a group of guys, guys that have been through divorces, guys that have had DUIs.
Oh, yeah. Felonies.
Guys that didn't graduate 9th grade, guys with felonies. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, technically, he's not alone. As a matter of fact, he was hanging out with a friend of ours, Ryan Harris, who we've had on the show before. And that was, about the best you can really hope for right now.
If you can't find a friend with an active restraining order to take you out for your 21st birthday, then Ryan Harris can sub in.
Does it really even count at that point? If you don't have a friend that doesn't have active warrants?
Yeah, no, it's...
You know what I mean?
It's not the same.
My hope is that this week, not just today even, but just this week, because certain things are going to be happening, because this is his birthday week, basically. You know how Gen Zers are. They're like, this is my birthday month, But it's a little different when it's your 21st, because you can't jump in early. What is this? The 12th today.
Yeah, and it's a Sunday. So can you really do a 21st birthday thing on a Sunday?
Nah, not exactly. You can try. But my only real hope for him is that he doesn't find out tonight which booze makes him fight cops. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the best case scenario, that he doesn't. It's better that you wait till your late 20s before you learn that.
Don't you have a story about a guy you worked with where maybe it was his 21st or something, but you took him out to the bar and he found out that tequila was real bad for him?
Well, he actually knew.
Oh, he knew.
Didn't tell anyone. So we took him out for his 21st birthday. We were working construction on the road, which, if you want a real 21st birthday, be working construction out of town.
Yes.
Go to a town.
Because that per diem money, it's different.
Well, there's that. And then go to a town that you'll never come back to. You know what I mean? You do not plan on leaving the place with good relationships.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's not like I have to come back to this bar. It's the only bar. Maybe it's the only bar, but you'll be gone in a month, So we took him out on like a Thursday night too. Because we'd head home on the weekends and we worked half day on Friday, basically. So we're like, yeah, we're going to the bar. Took him out to the bar. He got pretty drunk. He, as we found out later, lost all memory at about 8.
Ooh, just rolling blank tape.
And at a certain point, somebody was like, this company, for some reason, was like a company kind of thing to do, what they call them, spider shots or whatever. It was tarantula and Red Bull. Blue spiders or something. It's like a boiler where you drop, the blue tequila into half a glass of Red Bull and then pound it.
Better or worse than Four Loko?
Oh, much better. No, it's actually pretty decent.
It's
flaming Dr. Pepper-esque.
Sure. And I don't necessarily mean flavor wise. I mean, how fucked up do you get off of those?
Oh, decently.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially when everybody wants to buy a round, there's 5 or 6 guys. It's like, all right, let's line them up on me. On the way back, I was puking out of a truck window. So I I hit my second wind by the time we got back to where we were all camping. He held all his liquor down and he was just in la la land, and tried to get somebody to punch him. Like, hey, just punch me as hard as you can. I can take it. And they're like, no, like, we're friends. I'm not going to punch you. And he was like, no, I'm not a pussy. Just punch me. The person refused to punch him, and he kind of got pissed and walked off. And me and another guy walked off with him, kind of talked to him like, no, dude, just, we work together. He doesn't want to punch you. And, he's in this just drunken stupor. And he's like, he thinks I'm a pussy. Turns and just dead run, goes to tackle this dude, Dude turns last second, sees him, like steps back, but he catches enough of his t-shirt that he just rips, just like it was a button down. Just t-shirt just ripped clear off of him, like boof, like that. Turns,
just completely disappeared.
Like his shirt just gone, like a magic, literally like a magic trick. Just like his shirt was ripped, t-shirt just gone. Turns and sees another guy. This other guy was 110 pounds soaking wet in his 40s. Charges at him, and I see that guy go up in the air and spin like a good football tackle, like just doing a full 360 in the air.
Holy shit.
So I charge over there and tackle him and put him in a choke. I'm like, you gotta calm down. He's like, F you, I'm pussy. So I'm like, sleep time. Let off him. He was mad. We talked him out of his rage. He was going to call the boss, and just, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. And he's like, what happened? And we're like, we're just at the bar. And he's like, what we're drinking? And we're like, what? Or tequila. And he's like, why would you let me do that? We were like, well, no one said you couldn't. Like,
it's a free country.
Yeah. Like you're 21. Like, you didn't have a list. You were just like, hey, I'll drink whatever you guys buy me. So yeah, it was a crazy night of us just trying to contain this guy.
Why is it that there are certain boozes where that first shot is like, man, that wasn't my favorite, but it was fun. Everybody's drinking. The second shot is, hey, this is getting a little easier to do. That third shot is, oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was America. Like, we just go full hog.
Yeah. I can drink from the bottle. Like,
yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So look, man, you went to Christmas Valley. I was not able to make it, unfortunately. We'll get into that in a second. I want to hear all about it, but I feel like we need to take care of a little bit of news up front.
Let's do it.
So everyone, I haven't exactly been candid or quiet about this. Matter of fact, I'm banned from Facebook right now because I talked about it again. A 30-day ban from Facebook again. We are moving to Florida. I'm sure some of you have already heard that. I've talked about it on the show some, and you know, there's generalities there, but it's actually finally happening. Like, the rest of the house has pretty much been cleared except for the studio. I've left it because I've had some clients coming through, and obviously we do this show, but this is the last episode that we're going to do from Studio 69.
Yeah.
And it's the end of an era, Coy.
It is.
How long have we been doing it here?
2 years anyways.
I think so. Yeah.
Every bit of 2 years.
And it's gone through a couple of iterations. You know, we used to have a green screen over there that we just kind of sit in front of. And, you know, we used to have a green screen up here. Then we switched to the sound panels. I personally think that the sound panels have sounded really, really good. We've gotten some good feedback about the sound quality of our podcast. So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, gonna be out of here, man. I think the next episode might even be from our RV.
Sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad, but you know, on to new things.
If Coy could get internet at his house, we'd be doing it at his studio for the next couple of weeks.
I've signed up for Starlink. So I'm going to be talking to you from the stars one of these days.
Ooh.
Satellites will be connecting.
Oh yeah.
Things will be moving. Servers will be humming. Yeah.
You're not going to do it 4x4 podcast style where somebody says something, then there's a 5-second delay, and then someone else goes to say something, but then right then someone else goes to say something too, and then you play the, oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
There you go.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah. We probably will do that for the next 4 to 6 months till the Starlink gets to me. But yeah.
Well, we'll sort it out. It's probably going to be an internet issue on both of our ends because we're going to be traveling, spending about 2 weeks on the road, looking at a lot of Class A motorhomes. And I know this doesn't seem like the best time to buy a motorhome. The prices are high, but the prices are high on everything right now. You know, we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but the price of cars is going up. The price of trucks, obviously, is way, way up. Now is not really the best time to buy or sell. It's this weird scenario where, especially like homes, Coy, now is theoretically a great time to sell unless you're staying in the state. And then it's a terrible time to sell because what are you going to buy?
Another one. Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm really looking forward to Florida. Sand, sun, hopefully fewer Nazis. The anti-fascists won't be imposing their fascist law on me in Florida. That's the hope anyway.
That'd be nice.
We'll see how it all goes. But we were talking about what business endeavors I might be able to do. And I'm really wanting to do like a nice bar / gentleman's club. I don't want to call it a strip club. Because that's,
you know what you don't need to open though? A powder coating shop.
Well, there's a reason for that. Really, the only powder coater that we need to be using in this entire nation, nay, in the world.
Universe.
Wow, we're going galactic here?
Galactic.
Wow. Coy, so if aliens land, what are you going to tell them?
I'm going to tell them, hey, I know that this chrome spaceship looks good, but you could do a candy apple red.
It's kind of fucking cheesy. Like, we already did the chrome in the 80s, and it's not a good look.
Yeah. How about some prismatic universe?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what, it's kind of a gray, but there's you move and the colors change, which is kind of alien style. You know what I mean? I'm standing over here. Hey, it's green. I'm over here. Oh, purple. Hey, it's shiny. Looks like gasoline on water. Oh, I don't know what color it is, but it's awesome.
We don't even need to do the prismatic anymore. We can do all kinds of color combinations. I saw one the other day where it looked red from one angle and silver from another. It was amazing.
Yeah. Our boy Roy, Sandy and Powder Coat.
Oh, he can hook it up.
He can hook it up. He's big enough to do it right, but small enough that he's ready to do your project at a moment's notice.
If you've got a UFO, and listen, we're not talking about a jumbo jet UFO, okay? But you could never get something like that approved for the mothership anyhow. They don't have the funds. Like, all of that needs to be allocated, needs to go up the chain, you know? If you just got your little 2-person gray alien UFO and it's just you two, and it's got your, you know, real basic gravity drive, and you know, it's like the Toyota Camry of UFOs.
Yeah, just a small, you know, ASV, an all space vehicle, you know, a 1 or 2 seater.
ASTV, all space time vehicle.
Yeah. Then yes, that's what you need to do. You got to hit up that powder coat. You're going to want that control board. We don't just want plain gray. You're going to hit it up with some candy apple green.
Yeah, we're tired of
neon.
You know what? The chrome UFO, it's like the beige of the 90s Camry. No mas. We're not into it anymore.
Yeah.
You got to
make your UFO look like a weather balloon.
Yes. Thank you.
Duh. Then everybody thinks it's a weather balloon. Can you imagine how pissed you'd be if you fucking flew through a wormhole to another planet and they're like, oh, it's a weather balloon. And you're like, no, this is an ion drive, wormhole generating spacecraft. And you think I am that helium filled Mylar balloon?
You're both silver.
That would be enough reason for me to annihilate the planet. I'd be like, screw it.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a Honda Accord. If you don't want that scenario happening, you have to make your way over to St. Anne Powder Coating. And by the way, right now, St. Anne Powder Coating is offering a 20% discount to one lucky listener. We're going to be picking them out by using our iTunes reviews. But I'm going to tell you something right now. I've had a few people tell me that they've been leaving iTunes reviews, and Coy and I are not seeing them. So feel free to make your way over to the Facebook page. That's facebook.com/the horsepower hour. Leave us a review over there. We're going to start counting those up. Actually, we did have one review come through iTunes, Coy. I'm not going to read it here because it just said, dear sir and or madam, we're trying to reach you about your extended warranty. And I'm assuming that they're not an actual listener.
Yeah, it's possible.
But if they are a listener, I do appreciate you, and just let us know in the comments and we'll go ahead and hook you up. And so I appreciate that. But yeah, feel free to shoot your review over on Facebook. And we do appreciate that. It helps us and it helps you to get that 20% discount over at St. Anne Powder Coating. And we want to thank St. Anne Powder Coating for being our summer-long sponsor, which is not going to change just because I'm moving, by the way.
No.
Absolutely not, because those guys are amazing, and we love Roy over there.
I actually was about to give him a call the other day. I had a guy message me on Facebook, said, hey, did you build that rear bash bar for your MR2? And I said, yes, I did. And he said, how much would you charge to make me one? I said, hang on, I'm driving right now. I'll be home in a couple hours. We'll talk more. So I got home, said, here's the deal. So I want to say heads up. I'm not a shop. I'm just a hobbyist. So nothing's perfect, but I grind everything out and it looks good. Honestly, steel's high right now. It's probably going to cost $200-$300 all said and done. And I get it powder coated. Good job too.
Oh yeah.
The dude hasn't replied. So that was nice. So glad he wasted my time.
At least we have one friend in the chat. Firemedic Smitty says, have a drink for me, boys. After making fun of you a couple of weeks ago, Logan, we were worried about you. So let us know in the comments if you're okay. Obviously you're okay, but I'm sure your world is on fire right now.
Yeah. Let us know what's going on there. Like just the general layout of everything and what's going on.
And speaking of which, some of our top 5 business names for me moving to Florida would work in Louisiana.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I'm throwing that out there, but I do think we should get into it. You want to check these out, Coy?
Yeah, let's do it.
The Horsepower Hour presents this month's top 5 of the week today.
I had to write a few of these down because they were just, Coy was on it tonight. It was unbelievably good, but I do want to start off with my first one. Now, we're trying to cater to a very specific audience with this particular one. This might be a club for the gentleman of a different persuasion, if you know what I mean. The Raw Dog Oyster Bar. Come swallow a load of our oysters.
Love it. Love it. That's that's definitely a club for a certain kind of people. The other one I want to go, I mean, this is Florida.
Sure. Oh, and we're going to be right by an airbase.
Yeah. And I mean, people are vacationing here and they got stacks of $1 bills in their wallet. You know what I'm saying? The Runaway Runway.
Oh, that's a good one.
She's my cherry pie. They go out. Yeah.
You know me, I love to eat and I love to cook, and I'm big into barbecue, right? So I was thinking about a barbecue themed strip club. Excuse me, gentlemen's club.
Yeah. Exotic dancers, Andy.
Yes, exotic dancers. Thank you.
They're strippers when they're missing and then escorts when they're dead.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Coy's here.
You're welcome.
Dropping that knowledge, baby.
I think it's actually strippers if they're assaulted, hookers if they're missing, escorts when they're dead.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I messed it up a little bit.
Nah, that's all right. We got you. We got you. The gist is there. Anyways, I want to call it the Beef Barn. Huh? Beef Barn?
I like it.
A little bit of smoky action.
Pull the bus on into the Beef Barn.
What else you got here?
We have.
Oh, we have. So we're going to be in Florida. And of course, there is the NASA station there.
Cape Canaveral. There's a lot of space stuff going on. So this is why, once again, kind of like with Raw Dog Oyster Bar, this is for a catered audience, not your typical strip club.
An acquired taste.
A more discerning gentleman, a gentleman's gentleman club.
Some might say 2% of the population.
Some may. The docking station.
I love it. That's so perfect. We're gonna have, I don't know, maybe CO2 it being admitted, Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Spacesuits not required. One of my favorites, because I am, I'm into conservation, Coy, and there are a lot of ocean animals that we need to be watching out for. They're friends, not food. Okay. So Manatee is one of my top picks.
Manatee. Yeah. This would be a ladies club.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Weekly wet t-shirt contests, or should it be daily? Hourly?
I would do it on like a pot situation. Once I got this jar filled with dollar bills.
Oh yeah.
Then it could, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my shepherd's pie.
The fuck? I don't even. Couldn't you do like sweet potato pie or something?
Man, you could do that. Yeah. You had a couple of really, really good ones.
One of my favorites. I mean, it's Miami. Not that far from Cuba. There's a lot of good cigars in Miami. It is a cigar man's paradise. So my strip club, Clinton's Cigar Shop.
Bro, that is such a deep pull. What is it going to take for us to get the cum-stained red dress to hang on the wall?
Oh, I feel like it wouldn't even cost that much to get Monica in there.
Oh, no, not at all.
No.
I don't think you'd want her, though.
Well,
not unless we name the club Soft Bodies.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to try.
You came up with this one. I love it.
She could DJ.
Yeah.
There we go.
Another NASA-themed club, Deep Impact.
This one can literally go both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's for all tastes.
And keeping with the theme of presidential clubs, what else you got for us?
I have stimulus package.
Come get your package stimulated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That one works. And of course, the number one top pick for me, my club is going to be called the Horrors Power Hour.
Nailed it.
So that is our top 5 of the club names that I should open. But actually, speaking of business in Florida, that is one of the best places to have a business, honestly. I mean, no income tax, corporate tax is super low, property taxes ultra low.
Not getting locked down. Yeah.
Oregon passed, and I'm trying to remember what the specific name is, but it's a gross receipts tax here. And it's not much. I think it's 0.5% or 0.9%, something like that. But it's on all gross receipts through your business. And I've had a couple of people throw it up in my face and go, that's only if you're making $1 million. Well, you know what companies make $1 million? Taco Bell's make $1 million, and Papa John's makes $1 million. Oh, but also, like the Apple Tree restaurant down here, they're probably $1 million business. How much of that do you think the owners are actually taking home?
7 to 12%. Yeah. For a restaurant, it's under 15%.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to being away from that, quite frankly. But sun, sand, beaches. Oh my goodness, Coy. I have made the mistake on my Instagram of liking some hashtags. And I'm talking like hashtag Panama City Beach, hashtag PCB. There is nothing but the hottest people I have ever seen. Men, women, LGBTQAIP, like it doesn't even matter. The people that are tagging themselves in this, they don't look like this. And those of you on the audio podcast, that slapping noise you just heard, that's me patting my big fat gut.
There's not a lot of dad bod going on in Florida.
I'm concerned.
Well, that's the coastal region. And like, you're going to be off the coast, half hour. You just go you go to the beach in 30 minutes. You can go 30 minutes in and get deep into gator country. And I bet you'd fit right in. The dad bots.
Maybe. But I mean, I want to go there because frankly, we are almost, I don't want to call it retiring because we're not retiring, but we are shooting our shot and we are moving to a vacation destination. And all I can say is I better invest in some dark sunglasses and baggy pants. Because I mean, these people are gorgeous. It is unreal, the kind of people that come through Panama City Beach. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
I've been blown away. Every time I open my Instagram, I'm just like, oh, holy shit, what is happening? Have you noticed that the quality of the meat market, shall we say, in Oregon is maybe not quite what you would like it to be? Let me put it that way.
I would say any place where you walk around with little clothing, people are probably take care of themselves a little better.
Sure.
Since it rains 9 months of the year here, I can wear baggy clothes year round. You know what I mean?
Good for concealed carry.
Bad for people without abs.
That's right.
Or good for people without abs, as in I never have to notice how insanely ugly I am and then do something about it.
Well, one thing
there's never that moment where I walk by like a window without my shirt on, look over and go, oh my God, I have to change my ways. I just look over and go, God, this jacket's nice.
Fire Medic Smitty is saying what you're saying is I need to come and visit as much as possible. Only if you want to find yourself a girlfriend finally. Or boyfriend. We don't judge here. We don't judge. But look, man, everything is more expensive on the West Coast. I've come to realize that. Like, it is crazy how much what are we even calling it now? Is it the COVID tax on these cars? You were showing me this earlier today.
I've noticed this recently, and it could be multiple things, but what I've been told is because of all the stimulus packages, people getting, $2, $3, $4 grand.
Again, a good name of the strip club.
Yeah.
I also liked Semi-Gloss, but we couldn't quite work that in.
So a lot of this, like, as I call it, 90s rice, and even early 2000s, late 80s, but that's kind of all the classic stuff. But obviously we know the FDRX 7s, the 4th gen Supras, all that stuff that rose in price years ago.
3rd gen Supra, 2nd gen Supra, 1st gen Supra. If it says Supra or Celica, if it's rear wheel drive in Japanese,
the price is going nuts. Okay, so Mark II MR2s, they've always held their value nicely, but they've never been and they haven't really been going up in value. They've been slowly declining. Here's
what I would expect to pay for a stock non-turbo 2nd gen MR2. You ready for this? $3,500.
No, you're hard pressed to find one non-turbo under 5. Hard pressed. We're talking 200,000 miles of it is 240,000 miles. Colored body panels that are not the same color. Turbo, man, you're hard pressed to find less than 10. Hard pressed. And this, I'm looking locally, not nationwide, and I imagine they're like, for some reason MR2s are cheaper in Texas. There's certain places where certain cars were more popular. There's just more of them.
Arizona with Miatas.
Yeah,
our buddy Casey is over there. He flips some Miatas. Yeah,
and I don't I don't understand why this car marketing works this way. There are certain places in the country where certain types of cars will cost less and others more. Subarus are cheaper in Utah. I don't know why. It's a thing. Like, I know guys that are looking for Subarus, they'll fly to Utah and get one and drive it back.
Wow.
Like, they're enough cheaper to make it worth it, or can be. So there's some weird things like that. But in general, a lot of this has been good up. And even some that have been crazy cheap, the 3000 GTs, we've actually had a few on the show for like really nice ones for crazy prices that were actually pretty good price.
Even VR4s.
Yeah. Their prices are going insane.
Yeah.
Now, Gallant VR4s have been expensive for a long time.
Yeah.
That's not new. But for 3000 GT VR4s, prices skyrocketing. Now, Stealth GTs, still worth nothing.
Not GTs, Coy, RTs.
Or sorry, yeah. RT, whatever that trash is. Still worth nothing. Literally you get one all day for like $3,800.
So this is taking me back a little bit when we talk about the RT thing. This is total sidebar. I
Road and
apologize,
track,
everybody.
bro. Road and track.
Road and track. That's right. I was working for my folks and their parents, the pizza restaurant, and you and I were street racing a lot. And I had a customer come in and he asked me about my car. Because I think I had the MX3 at the time, and it was low, it was loud, all that good stuff, you know. And this dude started talking about how he's running the Toge. And he's like, yeah, I've been finding some really sweet Toges around here. Or Togs. What was he saying? Togs, Toges. I think he said Toge because he was watching a lot of Initial D. He's like, yeah, I have my car set up specifically for Toge. And I was like, oh, really? What do you have? I have an Avenger RT, a Dodge Avenger RT. And I was like, okay, so what do you have done to it? Well, I mean, these things are race cars from the factory, bro. I don't have to do anything to it.
Super, dude. Super.
Yeah. Dude used to come in all the time. He'd get a pizza like once a week and talk to me about all the cars he'd crushed. He's like, oh, yeah, I had this Corvette, and I just fucking smoked him, bro. Smoked him. Didn't know what we're racing, but yeah, hey, a W is a W, right? But look, the prices of these cars, they're going up for a lot of different reasons. There's a nostalgia factor there. As soon as we saw that, what was it, $68,000 Integra Type R that crossed the block here a couple of years ago, ever since that happened, prices have been going up and up and up and up on these. Would you call any of these cars JDM hero cars? Because, I mean, the MR2, the Turbo MR2, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love them, but I've never really thought of that as a quote-unquote hero car.
I haven't either. So, like a hero, one that I will, case in point, S2000s have been going up in value since before this, what I've noticed, all of them going up. Right. I would throw that in the JDM hero realm. Other ones that have been going up, like 8.6s, clearly a JDM hero one for, I mean, I know the reasons, but it doesn't have a good enough reason to be a hero car, but still prices are crazy on 8.6s. That's a hero car. Like, there are certain cars that you would call, you understand kind of why they're going up. You look at them and they're iconic. Turbo MR2s, like me personally, love them. Would love to own one. It's highly possible I'll have one in my stable someday. I don't see why they're going up. They don't have a collectible value to me, really. But obviously they do. You know what I mean?
Well, but as the price goes up, that collectability goes up. So we were talking about this with the Isuzu Impulse RS a couple of weeks ago. We've talked about this with Fieros as well. We talked to Stephen Cox about the next cars that are really catching on. And of course, he said Fox bodies. And as soon as he said that, Fox bodies caught, and their value is going way, way up. The Fieros, their value strangely continues to go up. As a matter of fact, I had a Fiero that was our Smokin Dealer smoking a Doob, which we transplanted because Coy found something better, but it was $5,800, and it's getting a lot of traction. We're not talking about on Bring a Trailer either. This was just Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, it's weird what we're seeing going up, and it's kind of weird the things that we aren't. Nissan 350Zs, they might be going lower at value. I don't know why. I mean, those are fine cars. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the 350Z. I don't see collectability. I'm not interested really in getting one. You can get a manual for $3,800, $120,000 all day long. Yeah, which to me is insane. Like, why wouldn't you buy one?
Yeah, if you've got $5,000, you can get the nicest.
You can get a turbo MR2 that's mostly stock and literally 30 years old, or you can get a in the 2000s less than 20-year-old Nissan 350Z. for half the price, I know what I would go with, just for me.
Here's the crazy part. 300ZX, and I'm not even talking about the good body style, the Z32. I'm talking about the Z31. You'll pay as much for a Z31 stock as you would a 350Z stock. That is insane to me.
I'm seeing 300ZX, the Z32s, their prices are climbing quite a bit, which I found surprising because Z32s have been notoriously cheap forever. I mean, basically since they were new. Once you drove them off the lot, it was like, yeah, here's $4,000 worth of car. Now, they seem to have like paint peeling and just the worst paint of any car ever for some reason. I'm not sure what happened to those Nissans, and they're a decent looking car, but there were just too many cars in that price range that I think were better cars, like the MR2 turbos, RX-7, FCs, all those were kind of in there, and they have a lot of reasons that they should be a good car.
And you know what?
The engine's great and everything, but they're just not.
Logan's bringing up a good point. It's not old enough for the price to go back up yet, but also there's that intersection. Like if we could graph these, a lot of lesser vehicles have intersected with the value of better cars.
I get that it's not old enough for the price to go back up yet. I don't get why the price has gotten so low on 350Zs. Which is kind of the same thing that happened to the 300ZX. They were notoriously low priced. Twin turbos had a decent amount of power. They were buggy. I mean, you had to work on it, but anything turbo carries that.
They were good for 500 horsepower all day long.
They were very tunable. I don't know one person that gave one flying F about a 300ZX Z32. I don't know one. No one cared about them.
I had a neighbor who had a hopped up Z32, and it was nice. And it was kind of a funny story. I love the dude. We're friends. So just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but he was actually in the country illegally until like the year I met him, which was a long time, by the way.
Wait, Russian?
No, Mexican.
Oh,
yeah. And I'm not saying Mexican like an insult. He wasn't from Guatemala. He wasn't from Puerto Rico. He was from Mexico, and he was okay with that. But he had a Z32 twin turbo, and it had a bunch of work done to it. He had twin Garrett GT, the larger frame GT25s, think GT2560s. I don't think they were GT28s, but they might have been. I might be recalling it incorrectly. But it made 700 horsepower. It had a big nitrous kit. He didn't drive it very much because, let's see here. I want to say it was the month he got it back from the shop after getting the bigger turbos and the full tune on it. He got busted going 140 miles an hour on I-5. He was racing a bunch of other people, and it was a big car thing. It was one of those scenarios where it was a bunch of people from a car club that were all rolling. They were all going fast, but he was the one that got picked out, right? But he lost his license for a year because of that. That was before it became a felony to street race.
Yeah.
And so mostly it just sat in his garage, but it had every bit of 700 horsepower. And that was literally the first person I ever knew that had a 350Z, or excuse me, a 300ZX Z32 that had done any quantity of work to it and really put like the motor together and got bigger turbos and stuff. But he even talked about how the shop told him when they redid his motor, it was a rat's nest of vacuum lines that they got rid of. It was just insane, the amount of vacuum and the twin throttle bodies, Coy. Each bank had its own throttle body going into the manifold. They switched all of that. They made him a custom manifold with a 70 millimeter throttle body on it. You know, just stuff like that, where you look at Nissan engineering and you go, man, this is way more complicated than it needs to be. I think that is one of the things that hindered the Z32, because you do have the dual throttle body thing going on. And so if you have airflow that's even slightly restricted on one side over the other, that only affects one bank of the engine, you know, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I can see some of that affecting the prices back then. But I like the look of, I've always liked the look of the Z32s.
Oh, they're decent looking car. Like that's why I say I was always surprised. There's no reason they shouldn't have been as popular as an FCRX7.
And the same way with the 3000 GT. I understand they're very heavy, but those motors are very good. And those 6-speed Getrag all-wheel drive transmissions are super duper tough. I mean, dudes are putting 1,000 wheel horsepower through those and not breaking transmissions. Logan, what are you saying here? My only guess for the reason why the prices going so low is because people are not getting wet over a 350Z compared to other Toyotas that people will drop 10K for. That's also true. This might be a little bit of a Miata scenario where there are so many 350Zs and we just don't realize how many are out there that they're kind of commonplace now, right?
It doesn't seem like that. I don't understand why they're so cheap. It seems odd.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, then on the other hand, it was like Miatas were always cheap. Now they're not. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just an interesting kind of car cultural thing that I'm picking up on right now, that the mid 90s rise
Mm-hmm.
is accelerating in price a lot. And even cars that previously weren't are catching up to some of the other stuff. So
it's the rise of the new collector car, don't you think?
I think it's part of that. And then some of these other cars, like obviously FDRX7s and 4th gen Supras are unobtainable for your normal person. So that can be your hero car, your dream car, all you want. You won't own that till you're coming to money.
Right.
And by then it's probably going to be even more expensive.
Right.
So you got to kind of start working your way down the list. And some of these other cars you get down to them and they've been low priced and they're starting to come up in popularity just because of that stuff.
I shared an image to my Instagram the other day and I thought it was so perfect. The new 400Z, everybody's freaking out about it. Even I have forgotten about the new Supra. I just don't care that much about the 2021 Supra, to be honest with you. It's amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm saying that it isn't amazing.
It's kind of the same thing I was just saying. It's unobtainable for me. It's $75,000 or something.
Sure.
Like I will. It's impossible for me to own one now, and unlikely in the future.
But the 400Z is going to come in. What's the starting price? It's 38,
39.
Mm-hmm.
Each package is like $5,000. So if you want the good stuff, you're into 55. But
you can get a manual transmission.
You can get a true manual, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these new cars don't have that. When's the last time you thought about the new GR86 from Toyota?
Oh, never.
Yeah, just right now with me mentioning it right now, right?
Yeah, no, I haven't thought about it in years.
The last time we talked about this, it's been over a month ago since we've talked about this on the show, the GR86, but I don't like the look. They're very generic looking now.
I like the old ones better, and I don't really like those. Like, I feel like they have a lot of potential that people haven't really tapped into yet. I'm not a Subaru guy. I'm not a flat 4 guy. I am a Toyota guy, though, so I'm just kind of like, I like it, but it's really, it's kind of really a Subaru. I mean, I know it's Toyota body and Subaru engine or whatever, but it's like, it has a lot of things I like and a lot of things I don't. I mean, like we said on the show before, obviously that flat 4, super low center of gravity, blah, blah, blah. And then guys K-swap them and they weigh 150 pounds less. Yeah. They're like, so where does that put us? Well, probably about the same with better motor. You know?
What a huge mistake not going with the turbo motor in those. I'm sorry, but it is.
There should have been a turbo. I mean, we did MR2s with turbo and non-turbo. Why, if we had a turbo GT86 or FRS or whatever we're calling it nowadays, GR86, my interest would be piqued for sure.
And it doesn't even need to be that much. I mean, if it just had, I don't know, 260.
I just need horsepower. Potential. You know what I mean? That's what I'm into. So like, I can get it and I can upgrade it. And if I don't have to bust into that motor before 450, so I can run like 400 horsepower pretty reliably, then it's amazing.
Man, but those boxer motors, they have to have ring lands that are very high up the piston, right at the top of the piston. They have to have very tight tolerances. And, that was the downfall of the newer SCIs, the 2.5s that everybody was blowing up on stock turbo pressure, because they would take it to the track, totally stock, 100% stock, but it would heat soak that motor and the rings would swell enough to where they would touch and then it would break ring lands. And that was literally the one problem. When I talked to Zach Morgan from PRE, and this has been 2 years ago now, I think, he told me, and I've talked about this on the show before, do you know what the best, cheapest way is to make a 500 horsepower STI, Coy? You tear it down and you gap your piston rings. Literally
just get in there with a chainsaw file.
Yeah, you'll get a little bit less fuel economy. You'll get a little bit worse emissions. But once you open those ring lands up and they're no longer touching, because when it's high up on that piston, you have a very thin area where those piston ring lands are, right towards the top of the piston. And so you can crack those pistons very easily because those rings touch and then the ringland cracks and it cracks the piston. It's a weird scenario. And I've heard good things about the FA20s. Those are the boxer motors that are in the new WRXs and stuff. But again, the new WRX, not even the new one, even the previous generation, it had a turbo version of that FA20. They should have put a turbo version in the GR86, even if it was detuned. That would have generated so much interest in those.
It would have. They could have just, they just had to make an STI version, a TRD Pro version, whatever you want to call it. Like, definitely would have increased my interest in that car.
Yeah.
I'm still hesitantly hopeful for that car, that the aftermarket kind of catches up to it. There's going to be a lot of swappable stuff that could go in there. Like, there's going to be a swap kit for a Supra engine and transmission or something into that.
The Ks, like you said.
The K series, I don't know if there's a kit out, but if there's not, there will be shortly.
Oh yeah.
But I'm curious. Like, I want to see someone put the new Supra inline 6 turbo, like that low weight car with that engine and a dual clutch transmission. Maybe I'm back into it.
Just make me a real fucking ugly hood that'll fit an LS.
or that.
Just do it.
Yes.
Let's just do it. Are we?
Fire Medic Smitty says, me personally, I never understood why people get so hard over the Supra. I will yes and no that question. I do. It was kind of one of the first JDM muscle cars like in America that was legit. You didn't have to get into the internals till like over 600 horsepower, which doesn't sound like a lot now, but in 2001 that would be insane.
We had a feature in, I believe it was Sport Compact Car, of a bunch of dudes that were running 1,000 wheel horsepower out of their Supras with stock long blocks. Do you remember that?
I remember something about that. Yeah. I mean, it is a good car. Now, the part that I don't understand, they are boats. They're the original Hellcat. I mean, they're a touring car. They're heavy. They don't handle very well. And sure, somebody's like, oh, the Tom Supra GT5. That's not a real car anymore, people. So yes, I get it. But as a JDM purist, when Supras are brought up, it's like, I don't even hardly count it. That's a drag car. That's a muscle car. That's a Mustang, basically. To compare that to an FDRX7 is like, the FDRX7 is such a better car.
Yeah.
On every front except for maybe reliability.
It is amazing looking. Its connectivity to the road is second to none. It has good tunability. I'm not saying that the engine's going to last forever, but we actually have a couple of mutual friends that have 10 years on their rotary engines.
They're treated right and tuned well. You can do something with them, and that involves adding ATF to every tank of gas. But I mean, they can last long if you know how to take care of them. Supras, they're Toyotas. Obviously, reliability is just, I mean, you just fucking floor it every day for the rest of your life and it breaks down because it needs new spark plugs and you're at 200,000. Like, that part I get, but Supras do look good. They're a great looking car, iconic looking. And they, even if they weren't iconic, they have a certain, sheath thick. Like, they got that hip swell on the back. Like, they have a good look. So I
would call it a je ne sais quoi plus a hard on.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a good look, but they're not nothing special. I'm not the guy who be like, oh yeah, when a Supra can do this. It's like, Supra can do one thing, and that's make horsepower.
They call them a whale tail for a reason.
And when you honestly, when you can compare a JZ to an LS, I mean, is there a comparison?
It's a hard comparison.
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of, they're a great motor if you want a turbo high horsepower, but you can make turbo high horsepower with American V8s all day as well, if not easier.
And if we're talking about modern drivers' cars, I mean, the newest Mustangs, the newest Camaros, the newest Corvettes even going back a ways, C5 Corvette, that's a driver's car. There's a lot of cars that are going to make you feel much more connected to the road than some of these other JDM hero cars. But it's just, there's a nostalgia factor there. There's that intangible, which I think really we can blame a lot of it on Initial D, quite frankly.
A fair amount. There's also a certain amount, there's a lot of JDM cars where you feel like you're in a suicide box. You know what I'm saying? You get into any MR2, you realize that you could die right now. You know what I mean?
Get your blood pumping, baby.
Yeah, you get into a gutted Honda Civic hatch and you realize I could die. Like, it's like being on a motorcycle. Like, and there's a certain, I don't know why, there's a certain piece of that that's nice when you floor it, you can like feel the windows vibrating.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of these bigger touring type cars, they may be just as connected and may have more power, may handle better. They don't have that that closeness to death that feels so exhilarating.
The perfect car to exemplify that is the Jaguar, and I hope I'm not screwing this up, XJ220, their supercar from the 90s. They are garbage. Like, if you floor it, the stereo pops out, the windows for the doors don't work. They all squeak now. You could take an XJ220, yes.
Yeah.
You could take it to the Concours d'Elegance, and still, when they said roll your windows down, you'd be like, no problem. And they said roll your windows back up, and you're like, fuck. I didn't leave enough to where I can grab it with my fingers and pull it up.
Get started.
They're garbage. But you know what they also are? They're a 205 mile an hour supercar, and they'll still do it every single day. But they rattle and flex, and like, they're not well built, but man, they got some power behind them.
See, my perfect version of that is the first gen MR2s. They got a little high rev and 4-cylinder. You will literally die if you touch somebody else in this thing, but they handle well. Like, there's just a certain...
Oh, the RS200 is the same way.
Well, yeah, for sure. It'll explode if you hit a fly, but...
yeah.
No, that dandelion's floating across the...
What other cars can you think of that are out right now? I mean, semi-modern that are a driver's vehicle, really?
Well, once again, Miata is always the answer.
Oh yeah, the Indy Miatas. Producer Nick has one, and as a matter of fact, the first day he owned it, he let me drive it, and I turned traction control off and maybe slid it through a couple of corners, just kind of see how everything is feeling. And that was a very connected car.
And I don't know how modern you want to be, but I mean, S2000s, obviously I love those. They have many faults. They are one of the most driver cars there is. I don't care. Of all the cars I've driven, I mean, when you get in it, you got all this hood in front of you. You're wrapped up like a fighter jet pilot, smoothest, butteriest 6-speed trans, and that high rev and 4-cylinder. Like, mini cars faster. One of the funnest cars to drive.
And actually, the BMWs too, like the 1M and the M235. Those are fantastic cars. They're not very big. I mean, they're quite small comparatively. The BMW Z4 is another one. That's the one with the 6-cylinder, so it has about 300 horsepower, and I would put that as a rival to the S2000. It's a little bit more refined. You don't quite have that same feel, but man, those things will get their fuck on, especially if you're adding any upgrades to them,
they're
tunes or turbos or anything.
And and as much trash as I just talked about the GT86 FRS, BRZ, whatever you want to call them, those are a driver's car as well.
Yeah.
Like, once you take off the Prius tires and, you get some wheels and tires and suspension, like, I can't deny their handling. So I will throw those in there.
And they feel pretty good, again, with better tires and suspension and stuff. But that's kind of the problem, isn't it? I don't want to buy a brand new car that has, I can tell that it has so much potential, but it's just not there. You know what I mean?
See, and I think, honestly, I do believe the Mark V Supras are a driver's car. I haven't had my hands on one. Obviously, they're way too expensive and too new. I'd like to someday, but some of the racing stuff that I'm kind of stay up on. I mean, they have some in California. They do, like, I can't remember what it's called. It's the like TRD series. It's just all Toyota stuff, and they class everybody, but it's a wheel to wheel race. Those Supras are crushed. Like, they're straight fast.
Yeah, they are very fast.
And with minimal modifications. We're talking exhaust and a tune, wheels and tires. They are track beasts, like 500 horsepower all day. I mean, that transmission's not a real manual, but it shifts a fuck of a lot faster than a real manual.
It is a DSG, isn't it?
I mean, yes, it is, but it's not.
Not
classical stick shift. It is a real DSG twin clutch. Blah blah blah. I mean, it's what we're all going to be getting eventually. But I think those are a better car than the Mark IVs, in my personal opinion. And I've gotten over that they're not really a Toyota, that they're actually a BMW. I still am growing to like the new Supras a lot more than I did.
Their performance is undeniable.
That's where I'm at. Like at first I was like, it's a BMW. Toyota shat all over its, heritage. And now I'm like, I'm starting to really respect this car.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Even the Hyundai, let's see here, their N line, not the N line, the N as in Nancy line. Those are more of a styling thing, but the N series, I've been reading some Car and Driver and Motor Trend articles, and it's looking like those are actually shaping up to be very, very good. They're calling, Motor Trend anyway, is calling the new Hyundai i20N the perfect hot hatch because it's fast, it burbles, it makes noise when you drive it, and it's fast. Like if you're driving it at 8/10, it's lifting that inside tire when you're driving it. It's got good suspension, it's got good tires, it's got a fuckload of power. Even their Kona SUV in the what do you want to call it? In trim impact? I don't know. It just the Kona in. It makes 200 and I think it's like 260 horsepower. And apparently they're a very good motor. They do have DSG gearboxes. And a lot of these magazines are like, shit, man. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. Shit, man. This is a pretty damn good car.
Yeah. That's how it starts. I'm going to throw one more driver's car around. This will be my final driver's car.
Yeah. Then we'll move on to the news. We've literally spent 50 minutes bullshitting.
That's the best though.
Yeah,
that's what the listeners ask.
That's what you came for.
They don't actually ask me for this, but I feel like
that's
if they
what
were
you
here,
come for.
They come for the bullshitting, but then they stay for the news.
Yeah. So swallow our hot load of news.
So, not a JDM car, and I've always had a little bit of a thing for these. The R32 Golfs. I have a deep respect for those. They're fast. They're a little boaty, but it's kind of a car they kind of shoehorn stuff in it that wasn't engineered for, and it makes it feel awesome. You know what I mean? You're like, this is not what this car was intended to have in it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would argue, and I've said this many times, but I think the Mazda Speed 6 is going to enjoy a little renaissance, because it virtually has the same running gear as the R32. It has the Haldex center differential. It's got the torque vectoring, rear limited slip. I think that we are going to see some potential there. Again, as long as people don't mind adding some kind of like a standalone and a whole lot more gas than what can be supplied with the fuel injectors. I don't know what it is, Coy, but the high pressure fuel injectors for these direct injection motors, they're rare somehow. I don't really know what exactly the deal is, but it's rare for you to find the high pressure fuel injectors, air quotes, in a performance upgrade. Most people just go, meh. Okay, so you're at 400 horsepower in your Mazda Speed, or you're at 400 horsepower in your what's another DSG turbo engine, the EcoBoost, whatever,
Focus RS or something. Yeah.
Yes. So you want to get more than 450 horsepower? Methanol.
Yeah, it is odd that you can't. It also is odd the injectors are that close to their peak out of the box from the factory. It seems like most cars factory inject, not necessarily even factory, but you can always, like, I don't know, you'll pull the injector out of a Toyota pickup truck or something and put it in your Celica. Like, there's always kind of a factory plug and play version to get a bigger one.
Ooh, my favorites with Mitsubishi. You want more fuel out of these fuel injectors? Pull the plastic cap off of them.
Yeah, stuff like that. There was always a way to tweak a little bit or get a different model fuel injector from just like some other motor of the same ilk that would work. Whereas these direct injection, it's just like, spend the money.
Yeah, it is. It really is. All right, listen, man. Again, what are we, 54 minutes in? I think it's time to hit the news. What do you think?
Let's do it.
We've been talking a lot about Subaru, hopefully not shitting on it too much. But the new Subaru WRX is out now. The first look of it. And I'll be honest with you, it looks a lot like every other Subaru.
It really does. It looks a little boatier. I mean, it looks bigger.
They've done a good thing here. They have shown us a good color.
I like this kind of a flat orange thing going on.
What car were we talking about just a couple of days ago? and they had this baby poop yellow that they did the renders. Oh, the new Integra.
Yes.
The new Integra Type S, and they did the renders with the baby poop yellow. I'm just like, what the fuck? What are we doing here, guys?
You already had a good yellow from the old ones you could have used, but then you decided to do this horrifying one.
Again, going with the typical Subaru Boxer, blah, blah, blah. We know all about all that stuff. It is still the FA20. It apparently has some upgrades. Now, I've been very impressed with the FA20 motors because they're supposed to get very good fuel economy. They're supposed to get good emissions as well. But the thing I'm noticing about flat fours, horizontally opposing, or boxer motors, whatever you want to call them, they're kind of like rotaries, Coy. They use oil. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And there's really no way around that. Again, moving those piston rings up the piston, making the gaps much tighter, making all of your tolerances tighter can help all of that.
You know, to be fair, there are more motors than you think that use oil.
Examples.
I mean, well, my motor, two ZZs, notorious for using oil. The oil ring gets gummed up with oil, which exacerbates the problem. So you have to like do a piston soak and stuff. And the 1ZZs were the same. There's several Toyota engines in there that had those problems. S2000s are known for using a little oil. A lot of the like B18s and stuff were known to have some blow by. Like they don't maybe use oil on the scale of what Subarus and RX-7 rotary motors do, but a lot of the high revving motors, Honda, Toyota, do use oil. No one cares for some reason. No one really talks about it, but it's a thing.
I think most high revving engines do, don't they?
I mean,
because you're throwing oil around in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's high revving.
I have a memory, Coy, of when you had your B18 and your Honda Civic. That thing was fucking fast. That was such a great car.
I mean, it wasn't, but it was.
Well, at the time, it was fucking quick. But anyways, you couldn't figure out why VTEC wasn't engaging. And at a certain point, we sat down and I was like, okay, let's just troubleshoot this from the top here. VTEC is hydraulically actuated and uses engine oil. How's your engine oil? And you were like, fuck.
Pull dipstick. Hand me a quart of oil.
All of a sudden, VTEC started working again.
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, no, I remember this. I was racing. I don't remember if it was racing you or I was racing Dana with the MX3s with the V6s. And I didn't really win. And I was like, the fuck? I always win. What is going on? And I was like, VTEC isn't engaging. What the hell? Yeah. Then we got back to the house and I was like, my VTEC isn't engaging. I have no idea why. And everybody's like, oh yeah, sure. VTEC clutch wasn't. No, like, no, I'm serious. Like, I've beat you before. I know that I should, you know, like.
Yeah, it's a weird situation to be in where it's like, oh, that's why that's happening.
Yeah.
So I own an FCRX-7 for a very short period of time, and it was riddled with vacuum problems. It was one of those.
That's true. I remember that.
It was called like a 6-port motor or something, I think.
I remember you're coming to the first SmackDown, I think it was, and you broke down on your way there.
Yes.
It was like your debut of your RX-7.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, well, it's an RX-7.
RX-7 things, yeah. I sold that car super cheap, and the dude that bought it was like, oh man, I've been having so many vacuum problems. And I'm like, I know.
What? So weird.
But this new the Subaru Koi, this new WRX, I mean, I don't mind the look of it. It's very basic. You know, one of the things that I always talk about is when you have no rear wing or just a tiny rear wing on some of these cars, they're hardly discernible. And I mean, I really hate to say this, but this car, we're looking at all these up close shots. By the way, if you're listening on the podcast, you of course can follow the links below the podcast to see everything that we are talking about and referencing. But this WRX, it's got kind of like a Camry TRD thing going on. And I'm just, that's a problem for me because I'm used to the days when these cars looked very big and bulky and unique, and they had the fenders that stuck out and they looked muscular, you know?
This does have a little bit of fender poke though.
It does, but man, at this point, I feel like a lot of performance cars that aren't really that performance-y have stuff like this.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I think why I'm digging this orange so much, this is straight up competition Chevy orange. Like this is old school muscle car orange, right? Like it's kind of a flat orange.
Yeah, you're kind of right. It's like a semi-gloss, semi-matte.
Yeah, this is this is Dukes of Hazzard orange.
Yeah, with just a little bit of pearlescence. You can see it with the color here.
That's a straight knockoff of like an older style orange, which looks good. And I mean, looks good, but this isn't a new orange.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to see this vehicle. And by the way, it's packing some serious horsepower. It's got the new 2.4 liter horizontally opposed 4-cylinder. Obviously, it's a boxer still. Makes 271 horsepower and 253 foot-pounds of torque. So that's pretty serious power. But that's only 3 horsepower more than the 2 liter was making in the previous generation. And I can't believe I'm saying this, Coy, because 14 second quarter miles used to be something that we would brag about back in the day. But this thing is only cutting a 14 at 98.7 as tested by Motor Trend. And that just doesn't seem like that much these days, is it?
So there have been faster stock WRXs or STIs, I should say, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's the STI or the WRX?
No, this is WRX.
Just WRX. Okay, well,
but dude, it's 271 horsepower.
I mean, it's heavy, obviously. I mean, are they going to do a 5-door?
I don't know.
I would love to see a 5-door. I really liked the 5 doors.
But when's the last time we've seen that? That hasn't been since what was it? The GR? Is that what the chassis code was? I forget now.
I don't remember, but they did the 5-door for a while. I always liked that car. And I heard in months ago that there was a 5-door and they had some kind of pictures, but we'll see, I guess. I'd love to see another 5-door. I like those. I think there's room for fast hatchbacks these days.
So what is going to be the name of this new one? Because obviously when the WRX first came out, they called it the Bug Eye. And then the one after that, they called the Racist. And then the one after that, every generation has a new name, right?
Yeah.
So what are we going to call this one? Are we going to call it a Catfish WRX because it's got that big new grill?
Good. I'm curious what it will be, what its nickname will be.
Oh, it's going to be the ED-WRX. Erectile dysfunction.
Oh, I thought we were going to electronic dance. Who knows? Well, let's see if there's any performance out of this.
Well, I mean, it's got all of the underpinnings to make it a winner, but I don't know. Those times are slow. It's weird.
Let's see what they do with the STI version before we pass too much judgment. Yeah, I mean, the WRX is never really meant to be the flagship. It is, but the WRX STI is the flagship. So let's see what they do in the STI front before we pass too much judgment.
But at this point, an STI is going to be 40,000+, yes?
Oh, it has to be, yeah.
So would you buy a $40,000 vehicle that can't cut like a mid 12-second quarter?
Well, that's probably why the mid-90s race is going up. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that could be.
Because I'm going to go, no, I ain't spending 40 grand on that. I'll spend 20. I'll spend 10 on a, something. And then I'm going to drop another 10 into it and see where I'm at.
Can Subaru ever really fill that style niche like a BMW or a Mercedes would?
I don't know. I mean, if you look back at like the old 2.5 RS, I think those are one of the best looking Supras ever made.
Okay, yeah.
And honestly, I would drive one of those right now. Nice STI swapping one of those, big fat tires and some box flares.
Those are hot.
That's a great looking car and crazy fast. So
make yourself a 22B knockoff kind of a thing. Yeah.
I mean, and I think those are iconic and good looking cars. There was one in the initial D series, so you can get some JDM cred. You get that JDM cred.
Oh my gosh.
You can get the Bunta sticker, smoking a cigarette, little head, stick that on the side. Like you can make that work on the JDM front. Get
it was the only vehicle that truly beat the 8.6.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, if you're wanting to go fast in style, I think that there's a better way to do it. And it's really got to be this Land Rover Defender V8 James Bond edition. So when I told Coy about this James Bond edition, I asked him, what do you think this is going to come with? And the things that Coy listed off was, tampons that were rainbow colored, a gender cheat sheet card so you can know what somebody's gender is.
Sonic dildo cleaner.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But Instead, what we're going to get is an all blacked out and very angry version looking version of this.
So I like the Defenders, maybe not necessarily from a mechanical standpoint. I think they look great. The new Defenders are good looking.
And you know what? I like the front end on this. It is it's got that Jeep angry eye looking
grumpy.
thing.
It is a grump. The all black looks good.
Maybe they should have called this the Grumpy Cat version.
Yeah. They got the green, I don't know what kind of brakes he's got, but they got green brake pistons, calipers. Looks good.
It's got that little 007 logo when you first fire it up. It says Defender 007. Yeah, this is not a bad looking.
Oh, wait, go back one picture. Please tell me when you open the door, it shines 007 on the ground. Is that what that is?
If it doesn't, I want my money back.
Same Z's. It looks good. I don't know about calling it and doubling down on 007 stuff. Like, I mean, I like James Bond just fine, but yeah, blacked out taillights. I mean, I like it.
What we're looking at here is a supercharged 5-liter V8 rated at 518 horsepower and 461 foot-pounds of torque. So a top speed of 150 miles an hour and a 0 to 60 time of 5.1.
What's our tow rating? I want to know. I want to know what I could tow with this, because this might be my next tow rig. Can you imagine rolling up to the track in this? Oh no, my car broke down. I guess I got to drive the tow rig.
Yeah.
Throw some door cards on and start ripping it up.
That is hilarious. I don't know how this thing is going to handle. And I'll tell you right now, the starting price for this collector series vehicle is going to be $114,000. Now, here's the beauty of a Land Rover, Coy. Do you know what that price is going to be in 2 years?
Oh, half of that?
40,000.
Yeah.
I would put money.
10 years?
Oh,
$2,800.
Dude, you're going to be able to pick this thing up. It's going to be sitting in somebody's backyard. It got stuck in the mud and it hasn't run since.
Yeah. What I'd really like to see is Defender, or I should say Land Cruiser, did this thing where if you Land Rover did this thing where if you bought a new Defender, you could enter to, I guess those aren't green calipers, they're like a aqua blue, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell. If you bought a new Land Rover Defender, you could sign up to enter this like Camel Trophy training thing in like Georgia.
Ooh.
And then out of all the people that entered, they're going to take like 100 people. I mean, it costs $12,000 or something. I believe, if I remember it right, a couple would be selected to actually do a Camel Trophy.
Really?
Thing. Yes. So I say some guys buy this Defender one and then just go fuck it up on a Defender Camel or a Camel Trophy training course. Yeah. Do it, guys. Somebody with money out there needs to do that.
So
I'd love to see it.
I do want to point out they're only making 300 of these, is what they say. And I don't think they're going to pull a Dodge where they're like, oh, everybody wanted this, so now we're going to make 12,000.
No, 250 of them will get pre-ordered, and the rest they'll be like, did you want this or no? And the public will be like, no, we're good.
Well, some Saudi Arabian prince is going to get one. Jay Leno is obviously going to get one.
I'm counting that in the first 200. You know, after that, it's kind of like, there's gonna be some of these available at least.
You think so,
dude? Who's that into 007? You know what I'm saying? And like everything they've done here, like, I mean, it's blacked out. So buy a black Land Rover and black it out. Like, this is not.
Yeah, and you can already get the V8.
Now, if they had done this as a Star Wars version, like if or a Harry Potter version, they would have sold these all on the first day.
Harry Potter version?
I swear to God. If this Land Rover was a Han Solo edition, they'd all be sold. Well, so people would be begging them to do a second run.
But let me ask you this. So the new V8 Land Rover starts at $90,000, which I'm going to be honest with you, that seems a little crazy to me. But 90 grand is what these start at. This one's $115,000. It's only a $25,000 upgrade package. And $25,000, that sounds like a lot. I mean, that's more than I paid for my wife's car. But at the same time, when you're spending that kind of money and you have that kind of disposable income,
you can get the exact same one in black for an extra 25.
Also has 007 trim.
Okay. But I mean, it's black. Now, here's the other thing that I've noticed driving around. These Defenders are not getting drove by men.
Mm.
So that's the other thing that I don't know if Land Rover is taking. These are rich wives' cars, SUVs. From what I can tell, I see a lot of these in Portland when I'm working. I seldom see a guy driving one.
Interesting.
007 is kind of the man's man. I don't know if chicks are that into 007. I mean, other than the ones in the movie.
Well, but 007's not really a man's man anymore, right? Haven't we neutered him by now?
I seem so. Or we're going. If we haven't, we're about to.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, at a certain point, you have to get with the times.
Yeah, I don't think a 007 version is gonna be that hot unless there's a new 007 movie about to come out that's gonna crush.
Well, it is. The new 007 movie is about to come out, but I don't think anybody's excited for it, quite frankly. I think the new one's called No Time to Die, and there are a lot of people who watched the trailer and were just like, meh.
And this is a new 007, like new actor as well.
No, I think it's still Daniel Craig.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Which
he's getting a little old to be a 007, but whatever.
And Daniel Craig is he's okay. I always thought Clive Owen would have been a better choice, quite frankly.
I did too. I always said that he should be the 007. I don't know why he never was. He would have been the best at it after watching like the BMW Drive movies and stuff. Like he should have.
And I mean, listen, the newer BMW, wow. The newer James Bond films like Casino Royale, meh. And what was the other one he did? Skyfall, you know, that was okay, but it was kind of weird because they were giving you some kind of James Bond backstory with a 50-year-old man. It was very odd.
I honestly, for me, when John Wick is a thing, what's James Bond got? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of now we got a new Matrix movie coming out. So
oh, I watched the trailer for that. It looks straight trash. I'm not even gonna joke.
Did you watch the first trailer for that and then watch the original trailer though?
No, I didn't.
It's almost exactly the same.
Is it?
I mean, no, it's not. But like half of the stuff they actually went through. I watched a side-by-side thing and like a bunch of the like crazy guns and backflips and stuff. They actually like copied off the first one to like make it, I don't know, some kind of thing.
I don't know, dude. These actors are looking old.
They are, but I mean, I don't mind that. Like if that's the route we're going, then I'm fine with that. Like whatever.
Yeah, I guess I don't want a full reboot with a whole new cast, but also I didn't ask for a reboot with the old cast. Like I don't know, something's weird here. It's not quite fitting.
I'm gonna be honest. If they wrap up the other three, because I kind of didn't know what happened in the last one. It was
nobody did.
Oh, I don't know. He sacrificed himself for the machines after he shot lightning out of his hands. And he was blind, but he could see. Like EMP, I don't know. Are you a cyborg, dude? Like I don't know what's happening here. So if they can go ahead and wrap up my childhood movies, just kind of tie this all together, so I know what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
Then I'll give them a pass if they want to wrap this up. If they're going for another 3 movies with these guys, just stop.
So I'm going to throw this out there. Hopefully, I don't make anybody too angry, but I think the Matrix movie should have ended with the second one. When he goes to see the what's it called, the overseer, the
Oracle.
No, it's not the Oracle, because that's the lady baking cookies. Architect. When he went to see the architect should have revealed to him that he was just in a different program, because some people need to be the hero of their own story.
Oh, he was just Matrix within Matrix.
Matrix within Matrix. And they built that Matrix specifically for people like him that need to be the hero of their own story, and then just killed him off. And then it would have just been it would have been a little more of a horror ending, because you know that there's no hope for humanity. But he would have just killed Neo off and been like, you think you're special? You're nothing. We have a program specifically for you. Like that's actually where I thought the second movie was going, until it ended and Neo was still the hero. And then the third movie, it was pure fluff for me. Yeah.
I read a good I don't know what you call it, thought experiment. They're saying, and I think they should go this way, that you know Neo and the whole team, they're actually just antivirus software. So if you look at like the agents as like your regular Norton, but you know they're the antivirus software within the Matrix. But if you have something happen to your antivirus software, like you know the agent going nuts, then you have like this dedicated scalpel of antivirus.
That seems to make sense, because the Matrix is apparently running on Windows Vista.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there needs to be antivirus for your antivirus.
Yeah. When they made the upgrade from Windows 98, they thought everything was going to be better. No, huge mistake.
We'll see. I'll probably watch it, just probably not in theater.
Ooh, that's a movie for you. The Matrix, Windows Vista.
And then we have the Windows noise.
No, just do an air noise, the bunk.
Then have like the black and white F1, F8 rescue screen and stuff. Yeah.
Control Alt Delete. Yeah. The architect is sitting there like, fuck, Control Alt Delete.
It's a rescue beat. He's sitting there pushing power. Reboot. Come on.
Computer, power into safe mode.
It crashed again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where all the Mandela effect stuff comes through.
Ooh.
How come we lost 32% of our memory? Fuck. I didn't. Did you back it up? No. Damn it, I'm doing it live.
That would have made for
Shaq or Sinbad in that that genie movie. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Just reload it. Yeah.
Half the people are like, I remember completely different.
Yeah. All these people are like, wait, Gandhi was a Nazi sympathizer? Yeah. I don't remember that.
I read a thing about Mandela effect stuff. Do you call it Jif or Jiffy peanut butter?
Oh, isn't it? No, it is Jif, isn't it?
It is Jif. I've always called it Jiffy, and I thought it was Jif, and they're like, no, it's Jif. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's Jiffy. Like, well, did they used to call it Jiffy or an advertisement or something? I'm like, no. I'm like, then why have I been calling it Jiffy for the last, how old am I? 36 years.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. A bunch of other people do too, and they don't know why.
Looney Tunes is the same way. I talked to my wife about this the other day. I was like, how do you spell Looney Tunes? And she's like, Tunes. And I was like, what the fuck? What world am I living in where Looney Tunes was Tunes? It's always been Toones, or excuse me, Toons.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's Tunes, Tunes.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Well, go back to your universe because you're in the fucking wrong one.
We're going to settle this right now. Look, Looney Tunes, Tunes. How the fuck did it look at that? That's the original logo right there.
No, it's never been that way. That's a fucking lie. It's Toon.
Because we call them Tunes, Toons.
It's
Tunes.
always been Tunes.
Yeah.
There was another one I read that was mind blowing for me. I'm trying to think of what it was.
Oh, Hillary Clinton won the election.
No. Oh,
okay.
Oscar Mayer Wieners?
Uh-huh.
How do you spell Meyer?
Meyers.
Google it.
Oh no. Oh no, Coy. Are you doing this to me live?
I am straight serious. I was like, no, it's not.
It's Mayer.
When
what
did it start
the
fuck? It's never been an A. That doesn't even make sense.
Oh, why would no. Oh no. Coy, what are you doing to me?
That's why we're living in a program right there.
What are you doing to me right now?
It's always been E.
Am I dead?
I think so. I think we all are. I don't know.
Anyways, I'm in Bizarro World.
Why would it be an A? That makes no sense.
Actually, we are in Bizarro World. Do you know how I can tell?
How?
Because Ford is reintroducing the Ford Ranger Splash version, baby.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
Talk about nostalgia.
So, first of all, I don't like this new Splash, and I know you're going to be able to pick out why I don't like it right off the bat. Are you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Coy, why don't I like the new Splash?
Well, let's see. Let's break it down. It's yellow. It's got the splash color.
Yeah.
That's the popular color. It's not a fucking step side, baby.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
I was going to go, is it a 4-liter V6? No.
Oh, I don't care about the engine. There's no step side, son.
Yeah, if you're going to...
How can you have a Splash that's not a step side?
Yeah, you can't have a Splash without a step side. This is Ford being lazy. Just straight up Ford being lazy.
And listen, it's a 4-door. I don't even know if they make it. They don't make a 2-door Ranger, do they?
Not that I'm aware of.
So that maybe shouldn't bump me quite as much. But no fucking step side? Are you kidding me, dude? This is crazy. Am I living in Bizarro World?
Maybe they couldn't do a good step side with this truck. You know what I mean? Remember the Tundra step sides that were god awful hideous and had like Camry taillights?
Oh yeah.
They were like the worst, ugliest, still are one of the ugliest trucks ever made.
Yeah.
Maybe, the design team threw up some stuff like that and somebody's like, nope, nope, I'm going to save this. We're going to throw that in the garbage can. Fuck it. We're doing it live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they just sent the Ranger as is in yellow.
So here's an image of the old Splash.
Yeah.
That is what I'm looking for. Okay.
I'm surprised they didn't do the original Splash graphic. That's kind of, that what bumps me more than the non-step side. They need the red Splash graphic instead of that black stripe.
They went a little too
that reminds me like almost like the old Toyota racing livery.
It's nostalgia-y. They're trying to jump on some of that.
It is, but for the wrong brand. So
right.
Like if that was on a Tacoma, I would get that, but it's not working on a Ranger. So,
and it doesn't say Splash anywhere on it.
No,
it doesn't say Splash, and that's the whole thing. You know what? Good name of a strip club, Splash.
Okay.
Also, good name of a strip club, Stepside.
Nice.
Maybe
you know.
For the larger ladies, you know. I don't know, man. So the Splash package, it doesn't seem like it's anything super hot. You know, it's got wheels that are specific to it. It's got 18-inch wheels, and that's fine. How are we feeling about 18s with off-road tires? Are we getting there?
I'm not, but a lot of times it's just what will fit over the massive brakes everything has, because everything's so ridiculously heavy.
Right.
So we just have to keep making the brakes bigger and bigger and bigger, which in turn we have to put bigger wheels on to fit, and then we have less rubber. And yeah,
this has some stitching in the leather that's indicative that it's a Splash version.
Everything's double stitched though nowadays. So like there was a time when that sweet double stitch was amazing. I'm past it. I'm actually almost to the point where something that just had plain vinyl that wasn't stitched would look more racy to me. I mean, Hyundais have double stitching now. Kias do. Like, I get we like leather with double stitching, and the stitching, you know, you have black seats with red stitching or yellow or something, but it's like everybody does it.
So I think we can admit that the original Splash wasn't really like a huge sport upgrade or anything. No. I mean, it had the stock suspension. I think it had slightly stiffer springs or something like that, but it had the step side and it had some cool graphics.
It was almost like a, hey, let's go drive to the beach vibe. Like, you know, it's kind of a California boardwalk vibe that it had going on. Like,
but you can get away with that in the 90s.
Not now. No.
Not now.
You have to do something.
What would you need to see? So, okay, we're talking about the Splash version. It has the graphics, it has unique wheels, it has the double stitching inside, right? But for $1,500, and $1,500 is not very much money.
That's nothing for some kind of pack. I mean, that's less than probably the tow package.
It is.
So honestly, for that price, I can't expect more.
But if you see a Splash version of a truck, I'm going to back this up, Coy. Let's pretend that the Splash edition of the Ford Ranger was $6,000. What would you expect to see?
Horsepower adds zeros. Like I always say, like I would need a horsepower bump. If it was 38 horsepower, that would be enough for me to go, maybe. You know what I mean? Which would be very doable since all these motors are turbo now. Wouldn't even be hard. It would literally be a software upgrade. I
would want to see some extra power options in the bed. Things to plug in your stereo, your blender.
That'd be nice.
Making margaritas, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if they did like a bed storage thing, like the bed self storage or something. Like I know it's not a step side, but check out. I do agree. We need to do some funky stuff with the bed. Like that was kind of half the Splash thing was this funky bed.
And the storage, that's not a bad way to go. Because what do you need at the beach? What can you store in the bed?
Yeah. I need this can of gas and road flares to get this fire going, you know?
Oh, I need a tray to put my shoes in that has a little sift filter. So as we're driving, all of the sand that knocks off of my shoes.
I'd love to see like a 10-gallon water tank that was pressurized, a little hose or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, built into the side of the bed or something.
Oh,
under the seats, maybe.
Dude, something where you could pull it out, and it doesn't have to be huge. It could just be like a kitchen sprayer, right? But something you can spray your feet off with.
Oh, feet? You know, the advertising for this, some chick just slow motion, spraying her hair off, surfing, blah, blah, blah.
Well, not an organ. It'd have to be fat positive, 400 pounds.
Well, what I'm just saying.
She's lifting her rolls to wash.
It.
Okay. All right.
Pulls out a Twinkie that matches the color. Essentially shoves it in long ways.
We colloquially named the spokeswoman for this Little Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've beat this splash into a wet spot.
Why? Why couldn't they hire the AT&T girl to be the spokesperson for this?
They should have.
See, a tasteful one-piece thong.
Doing it there.
Ooh, new slogan for the splash: get wet. Huh?
Yeah.
Splash. I don't know. Unfortunately, this trim is kind of nothing burger. I haven't really been impressed with the Ranger so far. If I'm being totally honest, I don't like the interior size.
As far as I can tell, Ford is not even trying with the Ranger. There's no advertising. They're not doing anything with it.
That's because they're fucking crushing.
I don't know why, though. They're not even trying.
Because they're filling that market with something different. If someone doesn't want a Colorado or a Tacoma, they go for the Ranger.
I mean, I guess, but I don't think they're going to crush that long because they're literally not even trying with the Ranger. Like, it's just like, oh, it's a global, global package, global frame. It's modular. We can make it for cheap. Like, we already have the tooling. It's here. Done.
I cannot agree more with you. Horsepower at zeros. If they had done the slightest little bit of anything, because these Rangers, they're available with the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're 300-ish horsepower from the factory.
Like, this is literally a tune away from 50 more horsepower.
That's what I'm talking about. So if they had done 330 horsepower for the Splash Edition,
done. Like, I'm like, sweet, get a Splash. Yeah.
And it's a giant nothing burger for them to do that, because these EcoBoost motors, okay, let's say
you could spend $6,000 getting 50 more this way, or you could spend $1,500 buying your own tune
and getting way more, by the way,
a ton more. Everyone would still buy the Splash.
Yeah, because the recipe for getting 420 wheel horsepower out of an EcoBoost Mustang or Ranger or anything else is that you put an intake on it, you put an exhaust on it, and you put a tune on it. Yeah, that's it.
Done.
So it literally, if they had just tweaked the tune a little bit for this, it would still be carb compliant and all the other stuff. They could have gotten an extra 20, 30 horsepower out of this, which I think 20 or 30 horsepower is significant, because at 30 horsepower, you have a 300 horsepower motor. That's 10%.
Yeah.
So if the Splash Edition could say we have increased the horsepower by 10%, that would be a huge selling point, and it would be nothing but a minor tune from Ford.
It literally costs them nothing to do it. Yeah. I agree.
So why aren't manufacturers doing this? I mean, honestly,
there has to be some kind of, like, they have to re-emissions or something. There's something to do with emissions or carb or crash that would make them have to pay a ton, $6 million to get it go through emissions again or something like that. Has to be.
Is it really not worth it, though?
I don't know. And the other thing is, they may be saving that extra 30 horsepower for 2025. You know what I mean? When they change the headlights and update it, and they go, "Oh, we added power." You know what I mean?
Man, I don't follow that logic. I'm sorry. I not your logic. I'm talking about the engineering logic. I don't follow that logic where you have these motors. This 2.3, this is the same one that's in the RS. This is the same one that dudes are getting 500 horsepower out of, really, with no issues.
Yeah.
I mean, really. So the fact that there's not an upgrade path for these through the packages, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, but what are you going to do, man?
I know. What are you going to do? You got to become an engineer, and then you got to become part of the corporate machine at Ford, and you have to let your voice be known, and then you have to have the bean counters at the top go, no.
You want to know something even crazier?
Huh.
The CEO of Ford is like Chris Farley's cousin. Google it. I swear to God.
Okay, let's do it right now. Ford CEO. That's all I'm typing into Google right now. James D. Farley. What the fuck?
Why would I lie? Like, I told you to Google it. Obviously, I just tell the truth. He even kind of looks like him.
I am so confused. What in the fucking fuck is going on right now? We really are living in a simulation. Holy shit balls. That's if Chris Farley didn't OD.
Yeah.
Wow. Coy, you're dropping truth bombs today, dude.
I'm salt baying left and right here.
Are you ready to drop some truth on this OLAF?
Yeah, let's do it.
Overland is fucked! So look, man, this is something we've talked about in the past. Unfortunately, at this point in time, my BR2K is in flux. I've gotten rid of my shopping carts because we need to clear out of here. Like literally, we have maybe another week, 2 weeks if I push it before this house goes on the market, and it has to be completely empty. So I've had to get rid of all of my projects. But one of the things that I thought I'd be able to do that I wasn't able to do was buy a cheap mini bike to, convert my shopping cart into a BR2K racer. But now it looks like BMW might have an answer for us. What do we got here?
This is BMW's latest concept EV modern mini bike, blah, blah, blah. It looks really good.
This has to be because there's this modern resurgence with mini bikes, right?
For sure. I love that the rear wheel looks like just a steel wheel from a car. It's got that one-sided, but I mean,
it's got that mono, whatever you call it.
Yeah, but it looks like a spare tire out of something. Like, it looks good though. It sounds dumb that I say it looks like a spare, but it looks cool.
So let me throw something out at you. If you're doing an electric mini bike, is there any reason why it's not going to be two-wheel drive?
There shouldn't be, but we're not at the point where we have a lot of extra power to throw around. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, we gotta be able to run this thing for a few minutes.
But don't forget though, you can use those electric motors as the braking system.
That's true. But on the other hand, also, have you ever been on like a dirt bike and be like, man, I just can't get up this hill because I don't have two-wheel drive? No, you're just like, apparently I need to go faster.
Yeah.
So
BMW calls this neither a classic motorcycle nor a scooter.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the picture here. Does he have a plant in his backpack?
He does, yeah.
I have no clue what's going on. He's just driving around with a full-size house plant in his backpack.
This might be the lamest thing I've ever seen.
Like, who thought of that?
BMW is saying that the EV can go about 56 miles on a single charge. That's not terrible if you live in town.
Yeah, if you're this thing looks off-road capable though, so I kind of thought it would be more of like a dirt scooter, but to 56 miles, not crazy far if you're out on the weekend trying to run around. But yeah, if you leave it in town and you're using it as a moped, then it's not so bad, I guess.
They do say that the top speed is 56 miles an hour. Does that change anything for you?
That's pretty good, I guess. I've never thought about this till this moment, but with electric, how can you say it's a moped? Because used to with mopeds, it was 25cc or something. So on that 25cc, if it did 300 miles an hour, it was still a moped.
Yep.
It was under 25cc.
49cc is a moped.
That's what it is.
Anything under 28cc does not require any kind of licensing or anything.
I thought it was under 49. Like, mopeds, you don't need insurance for.
No. In Oregon, anyway, I'm just going strictly off of Oregon regulation. 28cc is the limit, where if you have anything less than 28cc, then the cops can't touch you.
Well, unless you're, doing 70 and a 55.
There's also that, yes.
So yeah, there was that specific 49cc, which power wise, for some reason, as far as time has gone, they never really got faster. They all did 45 miles an hour, which you would have thought that, Yamaha would have a 45cc that did 100 by now, but apparently that's not a thing. But with these electric motors, where do we define that moped at?
There is a limit, and I'm trying to remember what it is. In Oregon, anyway, I want to say it's 350 watts to the motor.
Oh, okay. There is a limit. They've considered that. That makes me a little sad because I was hoping I was in this thing where I could have like a electric super bike and be like, yeah, it's a moped.
Well, there is a way around that. Do you know what it is, Coy?
What?
It's a jack shaft that lets you continue to use the gears on a bicycle. Like if you're doing an electric bike, one of the things that I've noticed a lot of people, especially around Corvallis, if they want to get more than their quote unquote 25 mile an hour top speed out of them, they'll just do a jack shaft kit. Even if it's electric, they'll do a jack shaft kit, which then lets you use the gearing of the bicycle, and you'll be doing 70, no fucking problem.
Wow. That sounds like a horribly painful way to die.
Speaking of FabSui, yeah.
And everybody's going to be at your funeral, not that serious though. Like, he did what? He laid over his 21 speed electric assist at 70 and then died as he bounced down the road and collided with a semi-truck.
Absolutely no one's going to say he died doing what he loved.
No, they're all going to be like, that was lame.
Unless he found a way to hold up traffic on a really great road on a sunny Sunday.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Find like one nice road And I got like 40 other bikes to just block it and refuse to move over.
But he wasn't doing 70, by the way. He was doing 25 because he was a letter of the law. Mm-hmm. So he died doing what he loved, blocking motorists from enjoying themselves because he was an asshole.
Blocking motorists from just doing almost the speed limit.
Yeah, exactly.
The motorists probably weren't enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't have been.
Quick sidebar. I fucking hate cyclists.
Oh, yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah. I don't hate cyclists. I just hate what they do, which is
I hate everything they stand for. How's that? Yeah. So maybe you do hate cyclists.
Like I always say when I was a little kid, my dad would be like, hey, there's a car coming. We're going to go ahead and get off the road. And you put both feet on the ground because that car will kill you super fast. And I'm pretty much was what happened with most kids. They're like, there's fucking cars coming, get out of the way. And then at some point they like turn to a certain age and they're like, fuck those cars.
Yeah. This is my road.
Yeah. Like I'll just be here now. And you're like, if you could just scoot over just a little, I could get by you. Like I'm not even asking you to get off the road. I'm just like, get towards the white line instead of dead center. And then I'll carefully make my way around you. No.
Coy actually has a really great story about this. It was one time when we went up to Crown Point. We used to race Crown Point. We stopped at the Vista House. And then the road going from the Vista House to the Multnomah Lodge, which had that all-you-can-eat buffet breakfast that was fucking insane. Bottomless mimosas. How many of those did we drink?
That's not even my fault. They're like bottomless mimosas. And I'm like, for me? Like, for other people or for me? And they're like, for you. And I'm like, ah.
I remember one time we had a street sweepers meet where everybody got together and showed up at the Vista House. And then we were going to cruise down to the Multnomah Falls Lodge. And the story is the drive because there were cyclists there and Coy took some extreme measures against those cyclists, which ended up netting Coy and all of us like zero because all of those cyclists had to ride back past us. Actually, maybe that's not a net zero. Here, you tell the story, Coy.
So it was actually going to Crown Point where I got behind all the cyclists.
No, I thought it was after we left Vista House.
No, it was again. But like going to Crown Point because I would just and they wouldn't let you pass and go 4 wide. It's a windy road with almost no passing lanes.
Oh, and you had that titanium exhaust on your S2000.
Crazy loud.
Oh, super loud.
Super everything going on. And I would just have it in first gear doing like 30 miles an hour behind them. And then the second there was a spot to pass, I just grabbed second, get in the other lane. But just enough. Yeah. Just enough, and then just go past them, spitting fire and back. Just
your carbon fiber windows were like scraping their legs.
To the next set of bicycles, and I would just, rinse and repeat, which I did 4 or 5 times, and then got to Crown Point. We stopped, and since my average speed was 23 miles an hour, most of the bicyclists caught back up to us and were like, "That's the asshole," and they were all pointing and talking to me, and I'm like, "I'm the asshole here." All you guys had to do is move to the side of the fucking road because it's a road, not a bicycle lane.
If ducks can walk single file and possums can walk single file, you can ride single file.
Yeah.
You don't need to be going 4 wide across a public road.
Yeah. But no, they have just as much right to that road as we do, even though I paid way more tax on it with gases and
fuck them all. I don't care.
That stuff. Yeah. No, I wish more would get hit by cars, to be honest.
So after we left Vista House and we were headed down to Multnomah Falls Lodge, and you did your crazy blasting pass. I mean, I think you passed me, and then you passed more riders. When we got down to the lodge, they mad. They real mad.
It's on them.
Dude,
they blocked the road for me not once, but twice.
Nobody got off of their bike. I'm just going to point that out. Nobody saw you and got off of their bicycle and decided they want to confront you, but they were all riding past at 15 miles an hour going, fuck you, man.
There was a lot of pointing.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Pointing with the middle finger.
But that was on them. They already knew what I was going to do from the first round. And then we stopped and they all passed us and we hung out at Crown Point. And then they saw, for sure, they knew it was the same car. They already pointed at me and said, that's the asshole. So they knew what was about to happen again, and they still didn't go single file. So all this they brought upon themselves.
Oh, 1,000%.
That has nothing to do with me.
And then, of course, once we got to Multnomah Falls Lodge, we were rolling like 15 deep, 17
there was
deep.
A few of us, I don't know.
And that poor waitress. So she would fill the mimosa glass of one person, and by the time she finished filling 2/3 of the mimosa glasses, that one person was like, "Excuse me."
We were doing them like shots. We just there was at one point she filled mine and I just threw it back and set it back down and she was still filling the person beside me. I'm like, go ahead and hit me again.
Yeah. Yeah. The cheapest champagne, by the way, I think it was Cook's, that $4 a bottle.
Do not care.
No, because when you're getting it,
no, I made up for it with quantity. This was not quality.
It wasn't exactly free. I don't want to call it free, Coy, because we paid $25 a person to be there.
Yeah, but when they're like, yeah, we got salmon, baked salmon for breakfast.
The crab legs.
Like, I'm not gonna go for those biscuits because I know those cost 2 cents. I can't afford salmon, so I will just eat the tray.
How many fucking crab legs do you have?
All of them.
I
literally put a dent in the Pacific Ocean.
We wiped them out for sure.
Yeah, at a certain point, they're like, breakfast is over.
So now that we're talking about all that, and you're looking at this electric bike, and we're talking about, going out for a cruise, is there any scenario where you would feel like, yes, I want to go and take this on a cruise, maybe hop in behind those bicyclists, not behind them, but I mean, you'd pass them, obviously.
I would want like an arrow quiver of just sticks. So as I come up beside them, I just reach back, grab one, stuff it into the front spokes, and then just power away.
Yeah.
And since I'm on a moped that does 50, they're not going to be able to catch up with me.
56.
I'm going to be able to pass everybody, probably 60 or 70 on the downhill, And I'm just going to have a quiver full of sticks, man, just going nuts.
So this is very mini bike looking from BMW. I know it's still a concept. But I mean, it's very mini bike looking. They've done a good job of making it look like the 60s, 70s, 80s mini bikes. There's a little bit of suspension and stuff like that. But if they had just taken a stock mini bike frame and thrown an electric motor on it with a big battery, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they could sell some of these. Yes.
They're going to sell some of these if they make this for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's going to cost $6,000, but they're still going to sell a bunch of them. So all the BMW files are going to have these,
If we throw on some off-roady knobby tires on this thing, and it does truly have let's reduce it a little bit. Let's go to 40-mile range over the sand and the off-road, right? Now, where does that put you as an overlander? Is 40 miles enough, or are you looking for more?
It's not good. It's not good. I'm not going to lie. But, this would still be a fun rig to, if you had a truck with a rooftop camper or something, have this stuffed in the back. So where you're camping, you could bomb up the road and maybe run down to a store, just kind of go scout out some trails, and you just throw it back in the truck, especially if you could actually charge it a little bit off your truck. It'd be a cool piece of kit to have in the back of your truck.
So let's say, for example, the battery packs were all self-contained, and you could literally just plug the battery pack into a cord and it had a charger on board. It was all self-contained. So let's say you've got 3 battery packs. They're all swappable. You, in this scenario that we're talking about, put yourself back in like Christmas Valley, right? Would there be any point where you said, yes, I want something like this because I want to be able to use it to cruise around to those camps?
Nah, maybe. The problem is, for me, I kind of see something like this as crap. I've blown 2 tires on my truck and I've got 1 spare. It's sidewall damage. I need a ride back. Like, if you're going to bring something like this, it kind of needs to be a little bit escape vehicle as well.
Yeah.
40 miles when you get out like Eastern Oregon.
Yeah.
That might not get you to the next town.
And carrying 2 battery packs rather than 1 gas tank is a little.
You have, some kind of 250 scrambler thing with a desert tank on it, dude. You're going to go 200 miles, you could ride back home.
Oh, like our buddy Roy that has one of the new Trail 125s. They don't call them that anymore. What do they call the new Honda ones? I forget.
I think
now.
They just call them Trails.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that thing gets 80 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, and you can throw another little, Roto packs, 1 gallon, 2 gallon tank on it, whatever they are. And
we talked
more.
Yeah, we talked about this on an episode. Theoretically, if you had a 2-gallon saddle pack or whatever it was, I'm forgetting now what the numbers were exactly, but theoretically, you could do like a 400-mile trip with 1 fill up.
Yeah, that's why I think this is cool. I think we're close to this being something like that, but we're not quite there.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, I love this though.
Yeah, it is very cool looking. Is that enough to make it OLAF?
It's close enough.
Close enough?
Let's call it a day.
Overland is fuck!
Coy, I'm excited to see where the future of electric goes. And I need everybody to understand that, like, we're not electric haters exactly, because electric has a lot of good points, good value. There are things that electric can give you that gas can't. But when it comes to something like range, it's not there yet. One of the big things that I realized recently, so Tesla battery packs, Coy, I don't know if you knew this or not, but they are 18,650 cells. And if you don't know what that means, like vape pens, those run off of 18,650 cells. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no copyright on those 18,650 cells. And so actually, if you pop open any of the batteries for these cars, these new electric cars,
50 new batteries for my vape.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe 5,000.
So if I were stuck somewhere, I could vape indefinitely till rescue arrived.
Virtually indefinitely.
Nice.
Virtually indefinitely.
I'd run out of coil before I ran out of vape battery.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So a lot of these battery packs actually run off of those cells. They look like little battery cells. They're the size of like a AA. If you doubled or tripled the size of a AA, they're not these pouch packs. Until we get to the point where the pouch packs are no longer copyright locked, I guess you might say, until the patent wears out on the pouch style lithium batteries, I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of range increase with these things.
Well, I'm just hoping for something past lithium. Like lithium's good. I'm waiting for the next step where it's something else, lithium iron, or there's already some other stuff in the
graphene,
works,
that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's where I think we're going to get our next. So we can still use these other cells just with a new, just like going from alkali to the nickel metal hydrates, like was like in the RC car world, you had like throwaway alkali batteries.
Yeah. And then nickel cadmium.
Nickel cadmiums, and they were like better, but they had some like you could run them all the way dead, and then they kind of like memory things, this discharge stuff, and then it was like, ooh, nickel metal hydrate doesn't have a memory. You can use half of it and then recharge it. And we kept, it kind of keeps on, and now we're at lithium or lithium ion, whatever, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this is the best we've had. They kick ass, but we need the next thing, whatever that's going to be.
And something that doesn't require slave children pulling a bunch of rare metals out of the ground.
I'm not actually saying that. I'm just saying we need the next thing that hopefully doesn't have some of the explosions and charging issues that lithium does.
All right. Fair enough. Well, listen, you can still be explosive, but you can still be gas. And I think that really summarizes our Smokin Deal or Smokin Doob. Let's get into that today.
Smokin Deal or Smokin Adobe.
Coy, I'm shocked. This is one of the only Miatas we've ever featured on here that I am not 1,000% in love with.
See, I'm not 1,000% in love. I'm bumped, but I still do like it.
Well, let me just quickly go through this seller description. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but let's just hit the highlights here. It's a 2003 Mazda Miata. It doesn't look like it's a Mazda Speed Miata. I think it's just a regular Mazda Miata, one of the last generation, because 2004, I think, is where they cut off the NB. And we're looking at 200 wheel torque. The seller says the car is meticulously maintained. No corners skipped. We'll see about that. The block has been oversized. It has diamond hone bores. Block has been completely deburred. Casting flash removed from inside of the block. Oil galleries deburred and polished. Main saddles are align honed and trued and resized. Crankshaft is just its factory, but with some work done to it. Hardware, we got ARP, all the good stuff, right? The pistons and rods are JE pistons. We've got he even lists the rings, the piston rings here, Coy. I think that's a little more information than people need, isn't it?
It probably is, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, but at 230 horsepower, I mean, shit, man, he could just run the stock stuff.
True, but at the price he's asking, he needs to justify some of this. So
I guess that's fair. We are looking at all the factory oiling stuff, but it's all redone and it's all been resized to make sure that it's got proper oiling. The cylinder head is a 5523 Motorsports BP VE race prepped cylinder head. And so I am actually a little curious. I don't know if the VE portion, the volumetric efficiency of the head, is still being retained. I think they're just enjoying that higher flowing head that comes from the second generation BPs.
Probably.
And for the layman out there, the BP heads, It used to be that the airflow would come straight in and then take maybe a 75-degree turn, 70-degree turn, and go straight down. And then what people realized is, of course, if you hog those out, it gives you much better airflow. And of course, the 99 and up heads, they have a much straighter airflow, so they do actually give you a little bit more horsepower. But there's so much material in those heads, you can really hog them out, get a lot of airflow. So that's a lot of what we're talking about here. I don't think the head has been changed all that much, but it is the higher flowing Mazda head. He has a lot of really detailed information here. He also has solid lifter cams. And as you know, Mazdas use hydraulic lifter cams. Pretty much all Mazdas use hydraulic lifter. That's why Mazdas famously have that lifter tap that develops after so many miles, because those hydraulic lifters will collapse, right? But, apparently he's worked all of that up. He's also got 725 injectors. Not bad. That's more injector than you need for the horsepower that he's doing. So that's a good sign. Cooling system, he goes into all that. Suspensions, custom valve, Feel 441 race spec, 800, 500-pound spring. So 800 front, 500-pound rear. Lots of good racing beat stuff. He's got some V8 Roadster stuff on the front, just to keep everything super stable, which I appreciate. He's got the Super Miata Stage 2 4-puck clutch. I'm not a huge fan of 4-puck clutches, Coy.
Yeah.
They're usually really, really grabby.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
They're light switches, but
they are.
In road racing, it's not as big a deal.
The turbo manifold is a log style manifold.
No, I'm not as big into log style manifolds, but it's a turbo, so
yes, but I think you could safely say that a ram horn style manifold would be worth a lot more than log style manifold. But this is cast, so you don't have to worry about it cracking quite so much. Here's some good stuff though. It runs a Megasquirt 3 PNP Pro. That's $1,000 plug and play standalone engine management system. Even though it is a DIY, even though it is a Megasquirt, those are very good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good system to go with.
That's a fair system to use on this.
Now we're starting to get into the not so great stuff. He's talking about the exterior. Coy, this might be the only Miata I've ever seen where I did not like the exterior. It has got some really weird, should I say weird stuff going on? It's
weird for a Miata, not so much for some other cars, but it's odd on a Miata.
It's odd looking, man. Like the tail lights, for example. It's those tail lights where you remove the entire tail light, you put in a new one where they're all bubbly and they have two backlights instead of the full backlight piece.
Did the R34 looking ish kind of knockoff taillights.
I do not like those. I'm sorry, I really don't.
That's an easy fix, though. I mean, somebody will trade you these for stocks.
Okay, like, but why does it all look so ugly? The hard top. Let's talk about the hard top for a second. So normally I am a huge fan of the fastback style hard tops, Coy.
So, yeah, and for those who can't see the picture, if you think the Spoon S2000s, with the fastback across the trunk, hard tops, popular-ish. If you saw it on an S2000, you wouldn't be bumped. You'd just be like, oh, Spoon hard top or Spoon knockoff. On Miatas, you seldom see these. I've only seen a handful and never one in person.
Some of them can look really, really good. I do like some of the fastback hard tops. I just don't like this one. And shockingly, this one has louvers in the back. Yep. I have always been a huge fan of louvers. I talk about it all the time.
Yep.
A Mitsubishi Starion with louvers in the back, that is pure sex, baby. Yep. A hatchback Fox body Mustang that has louvers in the back.
Wait for it. First gen Toyota Celica. Fastback with louvers.
Lord almighty, are you kidding me? Yeah. I would actually go second gen Supra with the louvers in the back. Oh
no, I'm talking old school like mini Mustang Celica.
Okay, I can give you that one, but normally I am a huge fan of the louvers in the back. I do not like the way the louvers look on this.
I like the way the louvers look just fine. Those rear taillights bumping me. The hood vents he picked, I don't care for. He did the eyebrows on those headlights. The headlights on those Miatas look fine. The eyebrows bump me.
You don't need the eyebrows
So
at all.
here's the thing that bugs me the most on this. He did kind of a bronze wheel, and he did white on white on white on white, and just a tiny bit of black. He needs another color. If this had red wheels on it or something, if this had just like gold wheels, it would change the look of this car completely.
And I actually like the side profile, except for those weird ass louvers on the hood stick up, and they are weird looking. They just look really, really bizarre. When Coy first sent me this car, I thought, oh, fuck yeah, a turbo Miata. I'm going to love it. And the more I looked at the photos, the more I was just like, ugh, I do not like the styling of this car. It looks goofy.
How much of this would you think would be easy to fix, though? We pull those eyebrows. That's a clip. We trade those rear tail lights out. Done. And then what? We sell
what do we do with the hard top?
Well, we leave the hard top, but we sell the wheels, do some brass wheels, and then we leave the fastback.
Man, but that hard top is so weird looking.
I think it would wait. And then, like this is what bumps me the most: the license plate that says wide MX5 or wide boy MX5, something like that.
It says thick MX5.
Yeah, thick MX5
with a C.
Yeah,
THIC.
So if it's
MX5
thick,
yeah,
she thick, bro. Then it needs to actually be thick and be wide bodied. So we leave the top, we take the taillights out.
Bro, this custom nameplate here.
Sad. But we go ahead and change out those real taillights. We pull the brows. We put gold wheels on this thing. We put some nice fat flares on this, and we get our fitment good. Maybe we go ahead and put a stock hood on. We trade somebody with Miata for just a white hood. Where are we at then? Can you kind of put that in your mind's eye? Nice.
We're getting there.
Bright bronze wheels, some fat flares.
Yeah.
And it's just a factory hood. Go ahead and just stock headlights and stuff. It's all, everything else is there. Like this thing has everything. The aesthetics aren't perfect, but everything else is there. Do you know how many cars there are where the aesthetics are near perfect? The motor's stock, or they've done some distasteful mods that might make it worse. Suspension's horrible. Like this has the underpinnings of the perfect Miata.
Does he talk about suspension in here, by the way?
It's not perfect.
Oh, yeah. Custom valved.
It's decent.
This is somebody that's using this as a track car. I should throw that out there.
Oh, it's clearly all those pictures are the track. I'm guessing this sits in the garage and only goes to the track.
Right.
The rear diffuser kind of thing going on. Not perfect for me. I would prefer probably a factory bumper on that, but I don't hate it either.
Man, that rear fastback just bumps me so hard. It looks so weird.
If this rear fastback, instead of having the factory little lip on the trunk, we put a fat GT wing on there, where would that put you? Maybe that's what this is you never see the fastback without a fat wing, because that's kind of the point of getting a fastback, is to let the wing enjoy the aerodynamics of a fastback.
So here's a problem, Coy. There's a photo here in the ad where it's next to a red Miata with black wheels. The red Miata has just the factory hardtop. It does have a very similar front bumper. It has very similar side skirts. I would take that red Miata all day long. I think that the white Miata is goofy looking.
Even knowing that red Miata is stock motor, and even if the suspension's equal, stock motor, we're still taking it over.
It looks so much better. It's shocking.
It does, but I feel like these are easy fixes. If you just took that white Miata and took those brows off the headlights, it would look the same, if not better.
Took the brows off, put a stock hood on it.
Yeah.
The NB Miata, I'm going to admit something to you. A lot of the factory styling, in my opinion, is pretty darn good. If I was going to buy an NB Miata to make a track car, I don't know if I would change all that much. Maybe the front bumper to get more air over an intercooler, maybe the side skirts, maybe a rear diffuser, but everything else I'm happy with. Normally I like these fastback hard tops, but there's just something about this hardtop that does not look right to me. Lots of photos here.
See, for me, it's not the hardtop; it's everything. It's those rear taillights and the front lights that are making it look. Here's my problem: the rear taillights. When you put the fastback on, it already bumps you because you're like, "What kind of car is that?" Because you don't realize it's a Miata with a fastback roof on it.
Right.
which is fine. You can easily get past that, and you always do. But then he put weird taillights on it, and you're like, wait, what is this? And then he put those brows on the front headlights that almost makes it look like Nick's Miata, like the newer Miata headlights. It thins them out. So you're bumped by all these things, and you're blaming the fastback, I feel like. But it's the small things that, because if that had regular headlights and taillights, you go, oh, that's Miata with the fastback. Like, you wouldn't hesitate.
Okay, all right.
But seeing these things kind of bump you.
That could be it. I might even have to ditch the louvers on the back.
Yeah, if you had to, you had to. I like the louvers. I think if you change those rear taillights, rip those eyelids off, there's no reason for the lids. Like, you're just literally adding plastic for no reason.
So let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. For you, this Miata, if you pull off the eyebrows, you change to a stock hood, and you get rid of the taillights, is this pretty much a ready to go Miata?
I wouldn't have to change to a stock hood. I'd like to. I don't care for that, but it doesn't ruin it for me. The headlights and taillights are the worst, though.
Yeah.
And I don't like that rear duckbill. That, to me, that duckbill's also.
Yeah.
It feels like he's trying to do like an S2000 copy a little bit. The way he did the rear taillights with the dual rounds, like, really feels like this guy likes S2000s and he just needs to get one of those. Like, it does feel like a bad S2000 clone.
Well, and for the money he's asking, $17,000, you could get real close to an S2000.
Oh, you could get an S2000 for sure. Now, is that, if you take away the part that some of this is bumping you, take away the aesthetic. This car is not for you, it's for someone else. They want a fast fucking Miata and they're dead set. This has, I mean, this price, maybe not good. I'm not going to say it's bad. I mean, that hardtop, that fastback hardtop, it's what? $3,800.
Those are expensive. Yeah.
$4,000. It's already painted to match.
Yeah.
All right. I seldom see those that are actually the same color as the car because they buy it and then they can't afford to paint the thing. The motor's been gone through.
Yeah.
Like, the suspensions, I'll say it's on point. It's, I mean, these aren't motions. These aren't JZR RZs or something, but it's good enough for a track car. You know, plenty of power. It's got good wheels. Like, it's got everything it needs. The license plate we could probably let back, and then the custom thick boy stuff around the start button, maybe let that go.
Yeah, that's going to have to go. I'm noticing that there are not a whole lot of interior shots here. I mean, some stuff just showing like the gauge pods.
He's got a nice D steering wheel setup.
The door cards for the doors, they look like they're something different.
They do look custom. I'm not sure what's going on there.
So I can only assume that we do have some interior work.
I can see the height of that shifter is a level with the center line of the wheel. Like, I feel like this car is a hell of a track car.
You could be right. You could be right.
I mean, I don't see how it couldn't be. He's got all, the whole recipe's pretty much there.
Yeah, 230 horsepower though is pretty low for all the work that's been done to it.
It's a little low, but good. That means it's not blown.
Yeah,
like, I can go ahead and bump it up to 350.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that he has only ran it on this the entire time.
True. Man, Coy, I don't know that. Yeah, I mean,
I'm saying that don't go off the bump. You can't go off the bump. This is not for you personally. This could be for a buddy. And you're like, if you see that rear spoiler is kind of also that.
Yeah, it's bad, dude. It's bad.
There's a few things he did that are bad that should have. If that had a GT wing and headlights, it would be awesome.
And fuck, those taillights are so bad.
Yeah, the taillights, the headlights, and that rear wing, we swap all that, leave everything exactly how it is. So we literally trade for stock shit and then throw a wing on. The hood's bad, but so be it. You know, I can kind of leave it. I get it. You're trying to pull air for that intercooler. I get it.
Miatas are so hot right now, though. I think I could swap that hood for a stock one. Here's the problem with me also. Look at the fit of the hood. It's not good. There's huge gaps everywhere. Look at how much it sticks back out of the back here.
Yeah, because he cut holes in it and then shoehorned those vents in it and then probably riveted it down and buckled the hood. Like, and the hood's also pinned down and he probably has that adjusted ultra tight. Like,
yeah.
I bet you put a stock hood on there and those lines would be perfect.
Yeah.
Unless this is a retitled or salvage car or something.
And it says nothing about that.
So yeah, well, if it's a salvage car, obviously this changes everything, but I don't think it is. The only body lines I see that are off are on the hood, and he has pins and giant vents in it. I can see how you could pretty easily make that happen by doing that.
It has an auto power bolt-in roll bar. How much good is that doing us these days?
Auto power is they're good roll bar.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we're okay
I shouldn't
with
say
that.
good, but I mean that's hard dog-esque. Like you're going to be able to go race on track with one.
Okay. All right. Whew. Boy, Coy, should I go ahead and start out with my estimate here?
Ahead, you do it.
I mean, look, man, it's a track ready Mazda. It's 2003. It's already got the turbo. I think all day long he can expect 15,000 out of it, especially in California. My price on this as it sits is not that. Just to be honest,
not 15.
It's not. I'm going closer to 12. Because at $12,000, I could literally be looking at Mazda Speed 3s that are already turbocharged, already have all of the good shit that I want. Those are going to fall in the 910.
To be fair, we have to pit this against other Miatas. Like
a Mazda Speed Miata is a Miata.
Oh, I thought you said Mazda Speed 3 for some reason.
Oh, sorry. No, Mazda Speed Miata.
Okay. Fair.
I've seen Mazda Speed Miatas. Their price is going up. Speaking of JDM heroes.
With a hardtop? It's fine. I'm just saying with a hardtop.
Yeah. You're making me... I don't know, dude. I feel like 12.5 is really my price on this. I'm sorry.
12.5, really?
I don't know if I can accurately justify it. It's so ugly. I have problems with looking at it. It's an affront on my eyeballs.
Now I agree. The aesthetics aren't perfect, and it's not aesthetics where body panel colors are different. So I'm going to go my normal way. I'm going to kind of work through it price wise. Like, okay, Mazda Speed Miatas, $12K on a good day. Could be more. I've seen them for more. So
sure.
Hardtop.
Do you know how much I'm kicking myself for not buying Handsome Chris's Mazda Speed Miata for $7,000?
I know. So hardtop, these fastback tops aren't factory, but they're every bit as expensive as factory. Just add $3,000.
Yeah.
He's gone through the motor. He's got all that done. That's a couple grand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we're already at his price number right there. We're not going through suspension, tires, ECU. And yeah, there's some stuff I don't like on it, but there's not a lot of cars where I'm just ready to go right off the bat. And I feel like everything I don't like is pretty easy fix. We got headlights, taillights.
And I will admit, this motor's built.
This motor's built right too. And he's got a tune, and he's not, according to this, he's low boosting this thing like crazy.
Especially with those 252. It's got a 252 intake, 262 exhaust, camshaft. So I mean, he's low power,
which is good. I want it to be a Sunday driver. And there are things I do like about this. The way he has the side exit exhaust out the rear bumper. I love that. He did that very nicely. It looks good.
I am not a fan of the clutch. We would have to do something about that right off the bat.
I'm not a fan of the clutch, but I'm not buying this car for a daily driver. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
This is in the garage and it goes out on track days. This is not a daily.
And by the way, it's got a pretty big turbo on it. I mean, all things considered, this is a T3, T4 hybrid turbo. So, I mean, this is not a small turbo car. It's just got really low boost.
Yeah. So 17, man, I don't feel like he's asking a crazy price for this. I feel like 15, he's going to sell it all day long. 16, he's going to sell it. 17, I don't know if it's a good deal. Obviously he doesn't want his asking price. He's probably trying to get 16.5 to 16. You know what I mean? So
I don't know if he's going to go over 15 with it.
I think 15 all day long for sure. I really do. It's new enough. You can easily get a loan on this since it's a Mazda, it's turbo. I don't know if it was originally a Mazda Speed, but I feel like a bank's going to give you a loan too close to this, even if you don't have a down payment.
I am just throwing this out there. That second number, what would we buy it for? I want to remind everybody at home listening, this is what we just couldn't pass it up for, right?
Yeah, that means my neighbor has it sitting in his yard.
Yeah.
And I walk over there and be like, look, man, I'll buy it for this price.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fair deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a good deal. What he has it listed for, 15, I think it's a good deal. For me, it's sitting at my neighbor's house and I have to buy it. I'm not far off your number. I'm going like 12.5, 13, maybe 12, like 12 to 13.
Okay, but hold on. You gave me a bunch. I'm not saying a bunch of shit. But you were trying to play a little devil's advocate, so now you have to tell me why you would pay so much. I'm a Mazda-phile. You know that I would pay more for any turbo Miata. You know that.
Well, because at 12, I could barely get a stock Mazda speed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this has a lot done to it, far superior to a Mazda speed. At 12, I would just have to look at it, even though I'm not a Mazda guy.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at it as a race car guy.
You
know what I mean? I just walk up to it and go, it has all this done. It's track ready. Like, why would I continue the build on my MR2 when I can sell that for 10 and come up with another $2,000 and have something ready to go? You know what I mean? I have to kind of, as a race car guy, I have to just realize what's here.
Well, and that's the thing about turbo Miata is it transcends being a Mazda guy. It's not about being a Mazda guy. It's about seeing a Miata and knowing how capable they are and how capable a turbo Miata would be.
Yeah, for me, it's about being a track. You know, I'm into track racing, and sure, Miata's not my weapon of choice, but at a certain point, I have to choose this. You know, it's like when you're playing.
Jump in this and be okay with it.
Oh yeah, it's like when you're playing WoW, and you're like, you know, I'm not really a Warhammer guy, but this adds 110 to strength, 25 to agility, and it has magic resistance. I have to use this instead of a sword.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about. What are you even talking about right now?
I like that. Okay,
nerding out.
Yeah. So it's like that.
Coy, by the way, is the guy that when Skyrim first came out for console, PS3 or PS4? PS4, right? Three.
I think
when Skyrim came out for PS3, the very first thing he did was he went in the cave with the bear and put rubber bands around his stick and then left for 16 hours. So he came back and he had 100 sneak.
I had 100 sneak. I did the same thing. I found
You're level 1 with 100 sneak.
I found like the weakest wolf there was and got a shield and held the block button down. Yeah. And and I just turned the TV off and left the PlayStation on with rubber bands on with the block button taped down. Came back like 2 days later. I'm like, sweet, I'm a level 14 with 100 sneak and 100 block. It's the funnest. It's the funnest to cheat that way.
So is this a little bit of like at 12.5? Is this a little bit of the easy mode in a video game where you go and you get a turbo Miata that's on low boost? I mean, 230 horsepower, that's nothing for a built motor Miata.
This is a cheater car at 12.5.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, at 17, then I have to be a Mazda guy. I have to actually like the fastbacks. Like I want, this is the car kind of how I would have built it anyways at 17. That guy's out there. He's got 25 and, if you were just price this out, we're hitting 25 easily. So he's not trying to get his money back out of it. So I can't, he is pricing down his mods kind of appropriately.
And he's subtracting his enjoyment.
Yes. So I can't really fault him on that. He's maybe a touch high, but I still don't think it's a bad deal if you like fastbacks. So I think his, I'm going to go ahead and do deal. It's not a hard deal. It's a light deal on his price. And then my buy it now is obviously lower because I'm not a Mazda guy and this isn't what I want, but I respect what he has.
Yeah. I'm a Mazda guy and I'm telling you 12,000 is really my limit on this car.
But that would be a smoking deal. Like that's the deal that you cannot pass up. And no one else would at 12.5 either.
That would be the smoking deal. If he wants to get rid of this thing right now, what do you think? Could he post it at 15 and just get rid of it right now?
I just realized Firemedic Smitty posted, can you just hook the main battery directly to the vape? Because that's a game changer.
Obviously, he was talking about the Subarus.
Yeah, he was talking about the battery situation earlier when I asked, but I didn't notice that comment. Wasn't timely for me, but it was good. It was on point.
All right, so
I'm going to put this in deal category because I feel like I have to. I mean, maybe not for me, but when I do the math, I do the Smokin Deal or Smokin Doob math. I figure out the mods. I see what it is. Even though I don't really want to, I have to put it in that category. The formula works for it to be a deal.
At 17, it's a Doob. At 15, I would call it a deal. And then at 12.5, I would call it a Smokin Deal because you can rectify. Here's the problem. You got to rectify problems that he made. Okay. This is one of the few times, Coy.
For me, you don't have to because they're aesthetical. They're aesthetic. Yeah. They're not performance. Like I can go out. That car won't be any faster when I change those headlights and taillights. It'll be exactly the same speed.
We're a little bit split on this. You're calling it a deal, a soft deal.
I'm calling it a soft deal. Yeah.
I'm calling it a soft Doob. I need him to come down some on it.
So okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not that far apart, but we're just deals in the middle. Okay.
Yeah. This is one Mazda guy, one non-Mazda guy, but we're both into Miatas and we know what the capability is, right?
Yep.
All right, fair enough.
Smokin Deal or Smokin Adobe.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I will always take a turbo Miata. I will always upgrade it, but this one's it's a little too far for me.
That's fine. I'm giving him a little more because I respect the build. He did it right other than aesthetics. If this had a factory hardtop, would you still be in the same boat?
Maybe even lower.
Factory hardtop would make it worse for you?
I think a factory hardtop would make it worse for me, yeah.
I just feel like
I don't like buying a car that I have to remove parts from.
I know, but
because I'm embarrassed by it.
I feel fair. But I do feel like the things that you're embarrassed about are free. Like you could literally sell them and either make money or just trade for stock.
That actually reminds me of a funny story. It's when we bought Corey Ann's S13. She had that champagne S13 hatchback. It was a great car.
Yeah,
but
it was hideous, but it was great.
Yeah. It had the Megan coilovers on it that were slammed. I mean, absolutely on its
welded diff.
Yeah, welded diff, the whole nine. So I found a guy that was going to did trade me, an open diff for the welded diff. Just traded him straight across. He owned a shop, and so he swapped it over for me. And then he also had some stock S13 suspension with Tokiko Blues, so good shocks, but stock suspension. And he swapped those for the Megan coilovers. And what was this, 10 years ago?
Yeah, maybe
8 years ago.
8 years ago, yeah.
8, 9, 10 years ago, something like that. And I remember after he swapped it, and I never talked to him after this. This was the last interaction I had with him. He texted me and he said, "Hey man, did you know those Megans were blown?" And I texted him back and I said, "Megans are blown from the factory."
They're Megans. Like, of course they're blown.
But that's exactly what I texted him. I said, "They're Megans. They were blown from the factory." He texted me back, "LOL, fair enough." And I never talked to him again. That was the last interaction I had.
At least that dude could internalize. He's like, "Oh, that's true."
And that was it. He just left it at that, and I never talked to him again. It might have been one of the best interactions, because whenever you have someone that buys something from you and they text you after the fact, you go, "Yo, this is fucked up."
Yeah.
There's always like a long back and forth, right? That might have been the best one, where I just told him they were blown from the factory, and he's like, "Yeah, fair enough." And that was it. I never talked to him again.
He owned a shop. He sold those for just a hair under new price.
Yeah.
And blown. Like,
oh, I guarantee he sold those to some drifter kid that didn't know the difference and was just like, "Fuck yeah, I got fucking Megans on my car."
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit.
No.
Why would he care, right?
Yeah, no, he's got coilovers. They're adjustable, bro.
Anyways, listen, man. We've run long. What are we at? 2 hours, 17 minutes. The reason why we call this the horsepower hour is because it was too lengthy to say the horsepower 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This was a long one. We didn't even really talk about you going to Christmas Valley.
Actually, we didn't.
No. So we'll have to talk about that in a future episode. But it's
the same as last year.
But it's going to be from my RV, Coy.
Okay.
Or potentially from your studio. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah. All right, man.
But listen, I appreciate all of you guys for hanging in there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend about the show. Again, drop those reviews of the podcast. I don't know what's going on with iTunes. I apologize. Something's happening. I have no idea what's going on with iTunes. Maybe they only update it every 2 weeks or whatever. But we've had a couple of reviews come in. People are feeling like their voice is not being heard. So feel free to drop that review over on the Facebook page. Again, that's facebook.com/thehorsepowerhour. Instagram is @thehorsepowerhour. Twitter is garbage. We don't use it. Don't even bother. Coy, you can be reached at all the same links, right?
Yes, sir.
You got anything else going on that we're excited about? Anything coming up?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Sadly, no.
Any guest spots on the 4x4 podcast?
I think I will be guessing
off-road podcast.
Off-road podcast tomorrow.
Sorry, off-road podcast.
They want to do. I went with one of the hosts, so they want to do a trip recap.
I am not doing this on purpose. Okay, I feel bad. Aaron, Ben, I love you guys.
Just say you're doing it on purpose. Why not?
I'm not. I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. The Off-Road Podcast. We actually had a review come through where they said, I heard about you on the 4x4 podcast. And I know that they meant the Off-Road Podcast. So I'm not the only one doing it. Okay.
Aaron contacted that guy and was like, thought that he was making a joke because of that. Yeah. That dude just did it accidentally as well. Like we thought it was a good, funny, like, oh, sick burn, bro. But no, he did the same thing you do.
Oh my gosh. So hear Coy on the Off-Road Podcast tomorrow. We're recording this on Sunday. So Monday, hear Corey on the Off-Road Podcast going over all of his Christmas Valley expeditions. Hear him talk about it with Jeremy, Ben, and who else is on there? Aaron, thank you. Aaron Samuelson, who I love. Aaron, please don't unfriend me because I do love you. Listen, man, good episode. I appreciate you. Again, this is probably the last episode that's going to be coming from my studio, but we will keep supplying you with that amazing content. And make sure you go over to Sanium Powder Coating. Get that 20% off coupon by leaving us a review. Get your shit powder coated for cheap, son, by someone that knows what they're doing. So, Coy, thank you so much for being here, my friend. I appreciate you. And for Coy Forticus and Masterson, Junior Senior Esquire, Duke of Earl Grey, Doctor, Master, and Commander, this is Andy. We will see you next time.